Okay. Let's test the audio. Okay, audio is good. I think we're good to go. Let me give the link.
I made it
I'm
a GIF.
surprised you guys. I'm surprised you guys weren't already in there.
I'm surprised that Witset protecting his grift on Sunday, like his usual days.
Witsit gets money just from flowing flat earth truth out of his mouth. It's amazing. Wish I was Witsit.
I don't know. Like, look at Alex Jones.
Even Alex Jones knows that Witsit is a fucking moron.
Yes. Yes.
Wait, has he said something about Alex? Has he said something about Witsit? Has he called him out or like?
When Witsit
No.
was on, Infowars, he essentially
No.
called out Witsit.
Oh, he
for
did?
being stupid.
Are you
Also-
serious?
Yeah.
Wait.
That's awesome.
Let's
If you
tweet.
watch the Veritas video, it's in there where Alex Jones essentially says that like he did like astronomy stuff when he was a kid. Like he had a telescope, I guess, with his dad, and he was like, and so his thing was, are the planets flat too? And he's like, and essentially he just went through the whole like, well, the planets are round. Would the planets be flat? Boom, the Earth is not flat. So it was something like that. But
even more on Friday or something, I saw on X he uploaded a video of a rocket launch, and he said, "Do you think the Earth is still flat?" And like he now actually goes against flat earthers, which is amazing.
What, he used to be?
we get so many comments from flat earthers because of the Witsit thing now.
What, Elon Musk used to be like on the side of flat earthers?
Alex Jones are talking about, right?
Oh, Alex Jones. What do you think of
Yes.
Alex Jones? He's like a real anti-Semite.
What do you think about gerbils?
Who?
Alex Jones is a complete piece of shit, but even he knows that Witz is an idiot.
Yeah.
What do you
I mean,
think about
Harrison-
people that call themselves Mr. Slave?
No, stop it. Come on. Stop talking about me. Why do you always resort to talking about me? Why do you care?
Why you-
Don't let them trigger you, bro. It is what it is.
Not triggered. They're wasting my time. Always wasting time.
Have you noticed they've just been bouncing from
Wha-
one negative thing to another, just talking shit
Why
about
are
one
you
person?
whining?
This is just what it is, Mr. Slave. Just gotta accept it. You know, we're in their house right now.
Yeah. Anybody wants to debate me on something so I can mop the floor, mop my floor with your face?
No. No.
I need to
What
mop my
side do you
floor.
argue for?
I have many debate contentions that you can probably. I could use your face to mop my
Flurf
floor.
or globe?
No, I'm a globe. I'm not a flat earther. So even I have my limits. I'll give you my my list of contentions.
You have your limits, but yet you go on the other Discord server and you lie about what is going on in this server, and you
No.
offend us on purpose.
I don't know that he's lying about anything, is he?
He goes and calls this server gay all the time.
What do you mean?
Okay.
Oh, I did it exactly.
Let's pretend you're a nice guy for a second.
Well, I mean, okay.
I had a theory. I don't know if it's right. I asked C-Line, and he agreed that this is a gay server. Once I decided it's a gay server, so I came up with another theory that really there's two tribes. There's the gay tribe and the straight tribe. Once there's two tribes, so there's going to be, you're going to disagree basically on everything. So once you became the physicists, they became the flat earthers. It's like you created them by looking in the mirror. They are your
Is it
mirror.
just me, or does he sound like a gay, like Christopher Walken?
If you're not the first one to say the name Christopher Walken. I don't know why people say that. That is a compliment. That is a deep, sincere compliment. I really appreciate that. I actually like him very much.
You know, the flat Earth.
That's good. That's how I talk. I did not know that. Anyway, this so I gave you a list of
Hold
propositions.
on, let me see if I can do a Christopher Walken like it does these things. There's a lot of things.
I did
I
not
mean, it's a
know that.
good thing. You know?
Wow, incredible. So I posted a link to a list of my propositions, any one of which I could use in order to use your face to mop my floor with. So anytime, step up, step right up. You can debate me on anything. I have crazy problems.
I would like to debate, and my proposition is that debates are a terrible way of determining what's true about the universe.
Fantastic. Let's get started. So, what's your evidence?
This debate.
Okay. Okay.
But you
explain.
first
Go ahead.
The fact that you exist is the proof.
This debate is not determining anything about truth or producing any knowledge.
Well, if that's how you feel, then I cannot, change your mind. But I feel that it is the only way I know, basically, to discover truth. I'll give you my evidence or my thought experiment. So as I'm debating you, right? We're now two brains, and you're trying to cross-examine my theory, my thesis, and you're doing your
Boltzmann
best.
brains. I knew it.
Exactly. So you're doing your best to cross-examine my thesis, and I'm doing my best to defend it. So it's fun, it's interesting. We get emotional, so we're thinking like this is the most intense.
Right. I just need to comment on one of these debate topics really quickly.
Go ahead.
Greta Thunberg is an international terrorist.
Of course.
It's so stupid.
It's not. It's actually very dangerous. The fact that you think it's stupid, that's why we're doomed. You don't recognize actual danger.
But
that's funny.
It is actually a good topic to show how both sides can come prepared and actually debate the topic with no answer.
What?
Mr. Slave, I'll debate you on.
But flat Earth isn't.
What? I didn't understand what you said. Could you repeat, please?
Maybe stop chewing on dick while you listen.
Sorry. I did. Okay, I stopped. Go ahead. Could you repeat, please?
I said debating whether Greta is a bad or a good person could actually be a topic for debate, which both sides can bring actual claims and actually make it interesting for people to listen, unlike flat Earth.
True, but do we know that he thinks international terrorist is necessarily a bad thing?
Yes, I'm obviously that goes without saying. I mean, that's not even a proposition. That's not even a proposition.
In this room, nothing goes without saying.
Yeah, I know, but I come from a different world where like people are normal. Like I never heard of flat earthers until basically I came to this server. I did honestly barely knew that there's such a possibility for people to exist. I mean, I'm amazed.
Why you lie?
What do you mean? What do you mean
I agree,
lie?
kind of
How do I
debating.
lie? What do you mean lie?
Because you were talking about flat earthers and writing about them before you came to this server. Evidently, you have a website behind you talking about this topic.
But flat
so
Earth?
You actually, yes, you being dishonest right now and having history behind you that actually proves that it is your whole goal to come to this server and debate this topic, means that you knew this topic before you came to
I
this
never heard
server.
of this server until C-Line
You have
came.
a actual link in your profile.
To what? What are you talking about? I'm not following. Please explain. What am I lying about? Why would I lie? Like the definition of lie
You
is
claimed that you never heard of flat Earth before you joined this server.
I said I barely I might have heard. I don't even know if I heard or not. Like flat Earth. Like not like I barely knew that.
It's a
It's a
You
simple
said
question.
you didn't know such people existed.
I don't know. We can listen to the recording. I maybe I don't even know if I knew or didn't know. Look, what happened was there is a video of it. It's very difficult for me to lie because I'm always streaming and recording literally everything. I don't do anything almost without recording it for the past.
Exactly. So
Mhm.
why can you admit that you were wrong with this statement?
Oh,
Simply say, I knew about flat Earth before coming to the server. Can you be honest?
Wait, hold on. These are two different. You're saying be wrong, lying, honest. You're conflating being wrong with being dishonest. So these are two
No.
different. What do you mean no?
E-
Wait.
Everyone heard you.
No, but
Everyone heard
no, but
you lying.
no. Wait. Look, you keep conflating being wrong with being dishonest. You can be wrong and honest, and you can be.
You were talking about your own experience. You can't
Yeah.
be wrong about your own experience and not be lying.
Why not? You can be wrong.
Unless you're pleading insanity.
No, you can just not remember. Look, what I meant was I don't. It doesn't look. It doesn't matter what I
Let's
said.
not rule out insanity here.
Stop!
Let's not
Stop!
be too quick.
Stop!
Look,
Stop!
you could just say, "Hey, well, I was being hyperbolic." Okay, I mean, it doesn't seem like the biggest deal in the world to
Yeah, I'm
me.
saying I barely knew of this phenomenon. Look, I still don't care. Every time you guys talk, you notice I hardly ever engage. It's the most disinteresting topic. Like, why my mind is blown every time from the beginning. Why you people engage with them? Why do you care? So my theory. So I had to come up with an entire theory why you care. And my theory is that you people are gay and they are straight, and really it's two tribes
I
going.
broke him. I broke him. I
What do you-
broke the faggot.
The what? What?
The faggot. You.
Well, what if the reason why we do it is because ether?
My sexuality, there is actually many videos where I discuss my sexuality to excruciating.
No. Stop.
I'm not
Stop.
gonna. I'm not gonna
Please,
discuss it. I'm not. No, he thinks.
Good.
No, he thinks he's going to out me about my
No, I just.
I'm not going to discuss anything about me because I've done that for many, many hours in the beginning of my channel. And on
I gotta
other,
tell you, I'm getting a bad experience only coming here like my second or third time. I'm getting a bad experience.
you need to fix your mic. You
I'm
have
just,
echo. I
I'm
don't
just
know. I don't know what you're
joking.
saying.
I'm just joking.
I don't know what you just said. You like have major echo in your room. I don't know where you are. Like in my bathroom, I probably have such echo. It's like terrible. Barely.
It's not an echo. It's a big, beautiful boom of my voice. They tell me.
No. You're echoing. Like I'm sitting in a homemade.
Continue your crying about yourself. Don't change the subject.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
Show us how you being honest.
I could handle changing the subject.
Yeah, I gave you
Yeah,
a
this guy's
list.
kind of boring. He just talks about himself.
Yeah,
Mr. Slade.
that's all I do. Yeah.
Because all you guys do is attack him. That's why.
Mr. Slave.
Yes.
How about
I'm
we
not
debate?
attacking.
What do you want to debate?
I want to debate you on Proposition 11. Provide
Let me.
the standard evidence is that you're claiming that there exists no financial crisis.
Let me paste it into the chat. That's actually literally my favorite. So that's
Good
good.
lord.
So I'll read it. No financial crisis has ever happened. 07, 08, 30, like 1930, etc.
Oh my fucking god.
By all metrics, Schmovid, I'll say Schmovid so that my channel doesn't get taken down. Schmovid is indistinguishable from 07 financial crash, which in turn is indistinguishable from the 1930s depression. This indicates that as the Schmovid downturn was completely manufactured by governments, having had shut down the world economies, so did these other downturns were manufactured by government having had shut down the economies. These events were never organic. So, yeah, I stand behind
Is it
that.
your
Mhm.
is
Hold on,
it
hold on.
your opener or your closer?
I
don't
just read
understand.
out loud Proposition 11 on my page, on my proposition page.
That is,
How do you
I
want
have to.
to?
That is really stupid.
Well,
All
I'm
right. Well,
sorry.
let's keep the 1v1.
yeah,
Is that your opening statement?
yeah, sure.
Okay. Here's my opening statement. The 2007-2008 financial crisis was a product of structured credit products, which far exceeded the size of the United States housing market. Financial banks were leveraged at a rate of approximately 30-1 on products that were designed based on inaccurate assumptions of Gaussian distributions in Gaussian copulas to assess value at risk. Because of the inaccurate application of Gaussian models to the tail risk associated with housing market downturns, the banks were minting structured credit products such as collateralized debt obligations, which consists of tranches of mortgages combined into a single product that they knew carried higher risk than was advertised. These products, in turn, interacted with the extreme level of leverage that was held by the banks, such that a 2% or 3% decline in book value would lead to a 100% loss of the bank's balance sheet. In order to understand why this precipitates a financial crisis, you need to understand the nature of the financial system, in which banks power the global economy through interbank lending and short-term credit, such as commercial paper. Without these short-term forms of credit and interbank lending, the global economy does not function. There's no liquidity, no business, especially businesses of any significant size, can function on the basis of cash alone. When the housing market collapsed in late 2007 due to excessive subprime lending, rating agency fraud, and the misrating of these products' risk based on inappropriate assumptions, as mentioned with the Gaussian copulas, the results were catastrophic. When Lehman Brothers collapsed due to their structured credit products that were on their books losing 100% of their value, effectively rendering the bank insolvent, the government chose not to intervene. When Lehman Brothers collapsed, all parties that had counterparty risks to Lehman Brothers stopped interbank lending. Therefore, the global economy stood on the precipice of a complete collapse and standstill. All of these factors are outside of the control of government and exist purely in the space of the purview of financial institutions. And to summarize those factors, they are excessive leverage, structured credit products, which greatly exceed the actual value of the underlying market, and finally, the system of interbank lending being based entirely on trust counterparties. None of these in government control. This single crisis invalidates your thesis.
Can
Let me
I
know
ask
when I
both
can ask a
guys
question.
a question?
Hold on, let's go 1v1 first, and then we can have
Yeah,
Q&A.
yeah, 1v1. But
Gotcha.
that is a really good analysis.
Yeah, because I actually know what I'm talking about. Go ahead, Mr. Slave. Say something.
Well, I also know what you're talking about.
So
yeah, no, I know you do, Omni.
Okay, so let's go so let's go step by step. Like, why don't you repeat everything you said? I'm not going to ask you to repeat everything.
I'm not going to
No,
repeat
no,
everything
I'm
I said.
not. Look, I'm not going to ask you to repeat everything. Just say the first thing. I'll stop you. We'll discuss it, and I think that should be enough. So go ahead. Like, of everything you said, try to say the most. Like, hit me out of that. Hit me with your best shot. Just, and let me stop you. I'm going to stop you as soon as I have something to say. Go ahead.
Okay. The global economy is based on short-term credit and interbank lending.
Okay.
Do you
Go.
have an objection to that?
No. It's fine.
Okay. This system creates counterparty risk on a short-term basis,
Okay.
meaning that.
Do you know what a counterparty is?
If I don't know, I'm going to stop him when I disagree. It's fine.
Okay. So there's counterparty risk. When I make a short-term loan to another bank based on the LIBOR rate, I incur risk that loan is not going to be repaid to me. And therefore, it's largely based on trust when I make those sorts of loans.
Okay, continue.
Banks were leveraged at a rate of approximately 30-1 on their balance sheets.
Yeah, continue.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Banks created structured credit products such as CDOs, collateralized debt obligations, which allowed them to combine low-quality mortgages into a single package and then re-rate the package of mortgages as a low-risk bond, despite having high-risk underlying assets.
So hold on. Let's start with that. So, do you think the banks felt that they're taking a chance by giving these loans, right? Before a bank does anything with a loan, it gives out the loan. So do you?
So typically, the way that it worked was that banks were actually purchasing these loans in bulk from subprime lending agencies.
What do you mean subprime? What do you mean subprime?
Subprime means anything below the prime lending rate. So these loans would be issued to people that are higher risk individuals, people with low credit scores, people that lack jobs, no proof of income, things of that nature.
Okay, so the bank decided to give out a loan to a risky lender, right?
Correct. Well, in some cases, yes, but the way that it really took off was there were specific subprime lenders, such as Countrywide and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, that were issuing a lot of these subprime loans. And then also tons of independent brokers that were issuing them. And essentially what would happen would be the loans would be issued, the banks would buy up the loans in bulk, then they would roll them up.
Wait. So who actually was in touch with the end customer, with the actual risky loaner? Loaner. Who was?
In some cases, it was the banks. More often, it was specialized subprime lenders like Countrywide Financial.
In some cases, it was literally no one.
Yeah.
Let's keep it at one-on-one. So I don't know what you mean by it was literally no one.
Well, oftentimes there was no contact or verification with the person being lended to whatsoever.
Yep.
So a bank gave money to a nobody? I don't understand.
Correct. In some cases, people put down the names of their pets, dead people.
They created the Nina loan. No income, no assets.
No. 1 second. 1 second. So that I mean, when a bank gives out a loan, it's giving out its own money to a person. Why would a bank?
Yes.
Why would a bank give out a loan to a pet? How? Why would a
because here's the fundamental assumption. This is one thing that's a great question. This is the one piece that I maybe did not explain in my analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to the 2008, 2007, 2008 housing crisis, there had never been a nationwide decline in real estate prices by any significant amount.
Correct.
Ever. So therefore, it was assumed that such an event would not happen. And whenever banks make financial decisions, they go off of something called value at risk, VAR, which is a measurement of the expectation of losses under different scenarios. So the problem that they had was that the assumptions going into the VAR, the value at risk formula, were faulty. They assumed a constant growth rate of housing, and they assumed a Gaussian distribution of errors. Do you know what that means?
It doesn't. It honestly, it's not critical. I'm just trying to understand why would a bank? No. Let me ask that. I'm really trying to understand why would a bank give out a loan to a pet? How did that happen?
Well, that was simple fraud and failure to validate.
But the whole reason they had such loose lending practices is because they thought it was exceptionally low risk.
That's correct.
They never thought that it was possible. Hold on, guys.
I will disagree with that, but
one person. Let's do one-on-one. Let's do one-on-one.
I know. I just so some of this stuff is really hard to understand, and I'm hoping that I can shed some light on that. But anyway, go ahead.
But let's keep it. We said 1v1. Let's keep it to a 1v1 and have Q&A after.
All right.
So
okay. All right.
But the whole reason for picking up a Gaussian distribution is that it's actually critical to understanding why banks make decisions the way they do.
No. Let me. So continue with your thesis. So up until now, we don't disagree on anything. Everything you said, I cannot imagine how it could cause a financial crisis. So let me ask you. And please, one-on-one. Oh, okay, it's you. Go ahead.
So because it's a combination of factors. And that's why I'm bringing up the Gaussian distribution, because banks make decisions based on value at risk and risk modeling.
No, hold on. Do you agree or disagree that everything you said until now is not a risk to the economy? Or do you think it is a risk to the economy?
No, it is. It is all describing a risk to the economy.
Everything. Okay, so everything.
It's 100% a risk.
One-on-one, not two-on-one. Then I get to turn to speak between you. Not, it's impossible that one speaks the other, and then no, one-on-one. So, all right. So I'm trying to understand Lionheart, C-Line.
Lionheart, that's funny.
Lionheart is good too. So, I'm just trying to understand. So you think everything you said up until now, that in itself could have caused a financial crisis that, as we know, crippled the economy for years.
Yes.
How?
Because the economy relies.
Let me stop you just before that. So, did you know this before 2008, or were you not born before 2008? How does it work? I'm curious.
Before 2008, I learned about all of this in the last 10 years or so. I've taught myself finance and quantitative finance.
That's good. So my question is, so the bankers were giving out these loans, and Ben Bernanke, who did his PhD, and all these PhDs and all these financial geniuses all over the world, they didn't notice that there is a financial crisis looming. No one noticed it. How?
Well, a few people noticed it. The people that went and actually looked
hold on. Were these people like super duper PhDs in economy?
No, typically not.
What do you mean typically? So the super duper people that study economics and teach economics, they didn't see a financial crisis, even a potential financial crisis looming. If I'm not mistaken, Ben Bernanke, they ran the simulations, they did the stress test just before the collapse, and the computer said, you're fine to go. Worst case scenario, nothing happens. How do you explain that?
Gaussian copulas and the inappropriate assumptions that were used to construct them.
Everyone got it wrong?
Yes.
All right, go on.
Uh,
And wait, hold on. Since then, has this been fixed?
Somewhat.
What do you mean?
But
So,
not-
hold on. Wait, hold on. Wait.
Kinda.
Wait, no. One on one,
Yeah, that's a
one
good
on
question.
one, one on one, one on one.
That's
I'm almost
not-
done.
I'm
I'm
not-
almost done. I'm almost done. One on one. It's almost finished. I'm in my. This is the final round. That's. I don't need more. So you admit that whatever risk was there is basically the same risk as now.
No, not exactly. There are differences. So the primary differences are that banks are, instead of being leveraged 30 to 1, are now regulated to be leveraged 10 to 1 or less. And I can look up the exact rates of, sorry, hold on.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Look.
No, it does. So I'll find it.
No, it's fine. I'll accept any number. You can say any number you want. This is look. The point is when I asked you, look, it's not important. Look, when I ask you, has anything? Would you say anything significant? Has anything significant changed
Yes,
since
the leverage.
then? The leverage? They changed the leverage.
Yep. They were leveraged 30 to 1, and now they're leveraged an average of 8 to 10 to 1.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So the question is, okay, then explain to me the mechanics by which the economy crashed, and for years basically we were having.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
basically, we had all of these loans that went out to people that could not afford. Oh, so there's another portion of this that I didn't explain. There's so many different factors that went into this. So there's two different kinds of mortgages.
It doesn't matter. Lionheart, it doesn't matter.
It does.
No, it doesn't. No, look, come on. I don't want. No, because you can. There's probably like a logical fallacy that you can just hog the mic forever. I don't want to do that. Really, I want to. I want to steal men. I want to really. I might be wrong. Like always. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong. So I want to try and steer you to where to where I want you to go. So I want to see. I just want to see.
That's not how I debate. So,
no, but
the thing is,
look, you're taking up the mic, and I don't really, honestly, I don't care.
You're the one taking up the mic, so let C-Line answer, then you get the mic. Okay, it's a give and take, one or the other.
This isn't going well for you so far, Mr. Slade, but just chill out. So,
no, I want to give my final blow.
Mortgages are far more profitable for banks than fixed rate ones, and especially for the lenders that get higher commission up front. That created a perverse incentive to issue these loans at higher quantities. The trigger event for the collapse of the financial system was the lapse period of the adjustable rate. So from the period of about 2003 to 2005, massive numbers of adjustable rate mortgages were issued. Many times individuals got 3 or 4 mortgages, multiple mortgages on the same property. And all of this was assumed to be not risky because it was assumed that the value of housing would never decrease and people wouldn't just default on their mortgages en masse because it had never happened before. But as soon as the adjustable rate kicked in and the rates went from 1 to 2% to something like 8 to 10%, these loans could no longer be paid. At that point in time, the entire system of structured credit, which was based on basically kicking the can down the road, collapsed. And that started with Countrywide and then Lehman Brothers. When Lehman Brothers collapsed, the entire system of short-term credit, we got into what's called a credit crunch, where essentially all of the interbank lending and the issuance of new credit stopped. And I don't think you realize, like, people say, oh, we shouldn't have bailed the banks out. Nobody has any idea who says that, what the consequences would have been had we not done that. Very few people do. And as soon as that happened, it created a domino effect through all of the businesses that had counterparties to these risky assets, causing a sequential collapse of large lenders in the economy. And that included businesses like GM and GE, which had gotten heavily into the financial services game, despite being manufacturers or whatever.
C-Line, okay, we're forgetting what we did. So you gave your opening, and I said, let's repeat, let's go step by step. But then you're going into monologue again. So I honestly, I try to follow, but I find it really, not interesting. With all due respect, so it's difficult for me to follow, and I don't see the relevance. So I'm just trying to see how any of this crashed the economy. That's what I can't see.
I literally just explained it to you because they were kicking the can down the road.
One second. So, okay, you agree? Okay. You agree that, right, the economy went into recession for a couple of years, right?
Correct.
And then it
That's
came
because of the domino effect.
Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me ask. Let me lead you to where I want you to be. I want to win this debate for you. I want to prove you wrong for you, not for me. I know you're wrong, but I want you to be.
You're not in a position to win this debate. So the best you could do is learn something. But go ahead.
All right. Well, I'm symmetrically. You can lead me to where you want, but you're going to have to do that for me with leading questions. I'm doing the Socratic method with you. I'm trying to lead you to my understanding, and you can try and lead me with leading questions to your understanding. But just give me a lecture. I don't know. I don't disagree necessarily with anything. I just don't see how it's relevant. Like, you can tell me anything about anything. We might as well discuss quantum mechanics. I don't see how it's relevant. So,
well, that's because you have a common problem, Mr. Slave, which is that you tend to have opinions on topics that you have absolutely no understanding of, and this is another one.
That's very.
You don't understand.
Yeah, but that's an ad hominem, so we'll ignore that.
Sure,
let's continue.
I'll agree. I'm ad hominem, but the point of the matter is, you have a basis in fact of understanding the global economy and how it works in the credit system and the lending system. Your original was this manufactured crisis. You haven't supported that.
Okay.
You have support.
Okay, look. Okay, I don't think that anything you said, and you're not the first person on the planet that I'm debating about this. You're not the first person that I'm hearing a lecture. I've heard many lectures. Trust me, I didn't write this proposition nilly-willy. I've heard basically everyone give their explanation. I heard the communists, the capitalists, I heard everyone from every school, the libertarians, the Chicago. I've heard everyone. I heard many times over. I've listened to bankers, to Senate investigations, to congressional. I read the Congress. I trust me. This is basically where I began my life. So you're not. You're certainly not.
What? Give us the so what? So what?
All right. So
you're not saying anything, dude.
Yeah, I'm
exactly.
sorry. No. My point is that C-Line doesn't. It's okay that C-Line wants to teach me. I would love, in general, I would love to learn from C-Line. Anything that has to do with anything, especially finance. I love finance and banking and economics. I mean, that's definitely my favorite topic. But that's okay. So now let's
Didn't you just say that this is boring to you? You kind of contradicting yourself here. It's either interesting or boring to you. So which is it?
No.
Hold on. Let's
let's continue.
1v1.
Yeah, let's continue. Let's continue. So look, so the question is, right? We both agree that the economy went into a couple of years of recession, and then it basically came out. And today, the economy seems to be good. I mean, since then we've had Schmovid, we've had ups and downs, but but the economy took a couple of years and it started recovering. So what exactly is this process of recession and recovery? What happened during this recession and recovery? Why did it take
It's entirely based on the credit cycle. Basically, how it happens is there's expansionary periods where businesses create and issue new credit, which causes the expansion of the economy, because the amount of actual cash in the economy is a fraction, a small fraction of the total economic activity. So the entire basis of the economy is credit. So the primary thesis is that in general, the economy expands and contracts according to the issuance and ceasing of issuance of credit.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what do you
There's
mean?
higher level.
Okay, so okay,
Then
hold
there's
on.
macro factors that are associated
All
with
right, so
assets.
hold on. So you're saying that there is these cycles of expansion and contraction. What causes these cycles?
Well, that's a lot more complicated. I can't give you a unified. If I could give you a unified theory of everything in economics, I probably would have and could predict these cycles. I would be extremely wealthy or have a Nobel Prize. So it's sufficient because of this debate to show you a single economic crisis, because your thesis was a non-existence argument. So if I can demonstrate the existence of a organic economic crisis in 2007, 2008, your thesis is falsified. I have so far done that. You don't have any substantive rebuttal against my points.
No. So look, so when you say that you don't have a unified theory for the economy, so I move to closing. So basically you didn't answer my question. So you didn't answer anything. So as soon as you say you don't have a unified theory of the economy, that's the end of the discussion. So I gave a unified theory. This is, you can debate against my proposition, but as soon as you say you don't, basically you said you don't understand the economy. I do understand the economy. Yes. So okay, then explain. No, then okay, I give you one. I'll give you a chance. What?
Straw man.
What? No. What do you mean straw
Straw
man?
man.
Wait, you said you don't. You didn't. Okay, then answer the question. What causes expansion? Yes.
The thesis of, now you're trying to salvage yourself by shifting the topic. I'm not going to let you do that.
No ad hominem.
Your thesis was there exists no organic economic crisis.
Correct.
I provided you with an organic economic crisis. You
What is
cannot rebut the existence of that crisis.
you rely? Wait, you look.
Your own strategy, therefore, was to change the topic of the debate to a unified theory of the economy. That was never a point of contention in your original.
You brought it up, so you can retract. You can.
You asked me a question about what causes economic crises.
No.
I answered your
what.
However,
what
I
did
you
not.
asked what causes economic crises.
No, I don't believe they exist. I don't. I would never ask you. I asked you what causes these cycles of the whatever you said, the expansion contraction. What causes these cycles? You said you don't have a unified theory of the economy. So
I gave you the basis of how we understand the economy, which is based on the credit cycle. So when I say I don't have a unified theory of the economy, what I mean is that there's the saying that, like, all happy families are alike, but every unhappy family is unhappy in their own special way. I forgot which author said that.
Okay.
I think that's applicable to the economy.
Russian one.
Yeah, that's applicable to the economy. Every boom economic period is more or less the same, but every period of economic crisis is different in its own special way.
You mentioned, C-Line, you gotta let. You're hogging the mic.
Okay, then go ahead. So
look,
let me just finish my.
No,
so all I'm saying.
Go ahead.
We cannot predict every single downturn because they're all different. They all have different triggers, and they're all based on a different set of economic factors. The commonality that we do know is that there is a credit cycle, and a business cycle.
C-Line.
And that.
Okay. All right, come on, C-Line. Let me. Okay, look. You said you don't have a unified what?
Democ is here.
Look,
So
C-Line, look, you said it's between you and you. You said you don't have a unified theory of the economy. In other words, you admit you don't understand the economy. You said that.
No, that's okay.
I asked
Well,
you a
that's
question, but if during a debate to one of my questions you brought up these contraction expansion cycles, I asked you what's the mechanism, what causes that? You said you don't have an answer. So I said, okay, then we're done. We're done. You brought up something that you don't understand. You never asked me something and I told you, gee, I don't know how that works. I would never say that.
no, you've
I
claimed
did.
you have. You've
Okay.
claimed you have
don't
so
fucking
special knowledge of physics.
One-on-one,
You don't-
one-on-one. We're doing one-on-one.
know
No
what
physics.
You don't know what a Gaussian copula is. You don't know what a structured
I
credit
didn't.
product
I
is.
didn't. I didn't bring.
You
Wait.
don't
I
know
didn't. No. I didn't
how
bring. I didn't bring those things up. I told you. I would love to learn.
don't
No. I would love to.
know.
C-Line. You gotta fix your mic.
You guys are just like trading energy at this point. It's just
C-Line.
whining.
You gotta fix your mic. You're like on speaker and you're echoing and you're coming in and out. I never know when I can respond.
You're
All right,
kind
man,
of
go for it.
responding all the time.
Look, all the purpose of the debate. I'll read your topic again.
Mm-hmm.
Your topic says, and I'll quote it
Yes.
word for word.
Yes. It's
No financial crisis has ever happened. By all metrics, COVID is indistinguishable from the 2007 financial crisis,
correct.
which is indistinguishable from the 1930s depression. You have never supported that thesis. This indicates that as the COVID downturn was completely manufactured by governments having had shut down the world economies, so did these other downturns were manufactured by governments having had shut down these economies. The events were never organic. I've demonstrated to you exactly what caused the 2007-2008 crisis, and at no point was it required for me to invoke a government intervention to describe how the crisis unfolded. You have no rebuttal to that. To finalize, when it comes to the 1930s crash and the COVID crash, these are completely distinguishable from the 2007-2008 crash because I gave you the specific chain of events that led up to the 2007-2008 crash.
No, you didn't. Because when I asked you, you leaned on, you depended on some expansion contraction cycle that I asked you, explain to me that thing, and you couldn't. That means and something you relied on as evidence disappeared. So you don't have an argument. You brought up you wait 1 second. You brought up this compression depression cycle, expansion suppression, expansion contraction cycle. You brought it up. I asked, okay, because I deny it doesn't exist. It doesn't, like your face, it's like the flat Earth. To me, when people say expansion contract, I hear the Earth is flat. And when I ask them, why do you think the Earth is flat? They poop their pants. And when people say expansion contraction, I say, what's your evidence? And they poop their pants. It's the same to me. That's why you're gone. You're done. It's over.
Well,
you're flat. To me, you're a flat earther when it comes to economics.
Great. Well,
just submit this as evidence to my thesis that debates are a terrible way of determining what is true.
You could, but this wasn't really a debate.
It's
I'm
never.
Just gonna finish.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna finish, and I'm just gonna end your career here on this topic. So, I provided you with your thesis is the non-existence of a single financial crisis that is organic. I provided you with a detailed explanation of the organic, non-governmental factors that created the 2007-2008 financial crisis. You were unable to engage with any of those factors in any substantive way, nor have you denied them. Your only recourse is to try to deflect to a general theory of economics, which is a different scope of debate. It is not necessary for me to demonstrate a unified theory of economic cycles and explain every single financial crisis in order to win this debate. It is sufficient to demonstrate the existence of a single organic, non-governmental financial crisis, which I have done so. So if you do not have a rebuttal to the specific factors that I issued that describe the 2007-2008 financial crisis, you have lost. And that's all I'm going to say.
It's fine. Look, I don't want to like we can continue, and I can support my proposition. I don't want to kill everyone out of boredom. I don't know if people are interested, so let me know if you want me to support it, or just say I won and that's it.
Do you have any evidence that the crisis was manufactured?
Yeah, well, we can go into the actual manufacturing. You want
So what do you think? Why do you think? How do you think it was manufactured?
So I'll tell you my theory of what happened in 07, 08, and the same goes for 1930, and it's just the same as every other downturn, and it's just the same as Schmovid. There's no difference. When you actually look into, like, when you look for, so you know the way I work, I always look for a theory of everything. I don't care for the details. The details I leave to others. I go for the big fish. So when I started studying economics, I very quickly focused away from the details, and I tried to come up with a unified theory of economics. And I worked on it for a couple of years.
All right, this.
Oh, fuck you, fuck
this
you,
is nonsense.
just fuck you.
So, can you show me you believe that rather than what Sea Lion described, which I agree with, that's what happened. I think that's a very good technical description of what happened.
Then what
There would be a few things.
Then what causes expansion contraction cycles?
So, mass movements of people tend to work in waves. We see this in expansions of culture where people expand and then contract like an empire. We see this in birth and death rates will tend to move towards a equilibrium over time.
That's literally that's fine. It's fine. That's begging the question. You're asking me.
No.
You're asking me to re-ask the question. Just answer what causes empires to collapse and rise. It's the same question. What is? It's the same
He's
question.
laying out principles, man. It's not begging the question.
No, he's forcing me to ask the same question. That's my definition of begging the question.
That's not what begging the question means.
I have a theory of what begging the question means. So by my definition, theory, that is begging the question. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
you're forcing
may have
me.
a problem
It's
with
fine.
this with my theory of things.
So I am asking the same question. What causes empires to rise and fall? It's the same question. Because I have an answer.
Do you believe in life cycles?
What do you mean, human life cycles?
I mean anything life cycles.
Yeah, sure. Things have life cycles. Yeah.
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 And those life cycles tend to fall into certain recurrent patterns.
But there's reasons, like a program has a life cycle, right? You develop a program, it has a life cycle. It comes to an end. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to rewrite the app from scratch, right?
No.
It has a life cycle. No,
not necessarily. No.
Okay.
So there are some pieces of software still running in COBOL all over the world.
Yes. There's very long. Yeah, there's outliers, sure, but in general, things have life cycles, and I can explain to you the mechanics of every life cycle. You show me.
Okay, explain to me the mechanics of a consumer credit card life cycle.
I don't. What do you mean, consumer credit?
I mean, well, so
do
you know what a credit card is?
Yeah, I know what a credit.
Do you know what a credit card is? Okay.
Yes.
So a consumer, it's a lending product. Yeah,
yes.
You would agree with that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. That product has a life cycle.
What do you mean?
I mean, it has.
Like
So
the physical credit card, the account,
the
everything.
account,
I mean,
the
it's
product. So I think you don't know what you're talking about. All right. So
well,
the way that I try to
don't-
determine
I
if you know
agree.
what the fuck
I
the
agree.
words coming out
No,
of your mouth
hey,
mean.
stop. That's not nice. Look, what I meant is like you want me to explain to you how empires rise and fall. I have the mechanics for that. You want to know like how a person
Well,
is born and dies? Obviously, I have the mechanics for that. You
I
want?
want you to I want
Mhm,
you to do I want you to describe to me
mhm.
how a how the life cycle of a consumer credit product works.
Like I honestly like I can come up with a theory as soon as I know what you mean. Like,
Well, you should already have a theory. Didn't you
what do
just
you
lose by
mean?
not? How
I didn't
you
say
just told
I
me you
didn't.
don't know what I mean.
No, no, no. I didn't say I know every question you will ask. I will know immediately what you mean. I don't know what you mean. I don't know if I am familiar with the topic. Look, I might be wrong about a certain topic that I don't have a theory that I never thought
Oh,
about.
you think?
I don't
Yes,
know. I don't
you might
know.
very well be wrong.
I don't know. Everything I ever looked into, I figured out. So go ahead, explain to me
Can we
what.
talk about something besides this guy won't pay? I'm like, this is really getting boring just talking about him.
No, we're
Yeah.
having a
Okay.
good time.
All
Oh
right.
wait,
Well,
Mr. Slave, I just want to pop in really quickly and say, I posted two of your, there's going to be the three options, right? Not for now, but I just set you up, right? I want to debate you on Proposition 30, which is racism is fake. I want to debate you on Proposition 63, which is wildfires are caused by trees. If we stop growing trees, we will not have wildfires. Not that that's wrong, but I think it's a wrong way to think about it.
Okay.
And also, there's one more, which is the what about the children argument cannot be used, unfortunately. This argument has become weaponized. Something
What about me?
the proposition nudity is bad because it will harm the children. I want to debate you on that, but I want to take the angle of it sounds like you're a pedophile. All right. So any one of those three.
So
Okay.
I will not debate anything personal. Like if you aim to defame me, then I'm not going to engage. So no ad
All right.
hominem.
We'll do proposition 30 then. How about that? Racism is
Sure,
fake.
sure.
All right. I'll come back later and we'll do
Mhm,
that. Okay.
mhm, mhm,
All right, okay. See you in a bit.
mhm.
All right, topic change. Omnivore, do you want to do an event on the financial crises?
Hey, what? That's a topic change?
Yeah, it's a topic change away from you being relevant. Yeah,
Can I take his place? Can I tap in?
yeah, go for it, of course.
Okay, so C-Line, I agree with 99% of what you said. I think you have your facts straight on this, but I think there are other factors that we ought to discuss when covering this as a whole context. For example, you spoke a lot about the banks creating these mortgage products and the banks, creating collateralized debt obligations, the banks assuming certain risk models. But you didn't. You omitted the role of the federal government in creating this situation by doing that. For example, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, these are U.S. government created corporations for the very purpose of, getting Americans into home loans. And I got an FHA loan, right? Like I personally benefited from a government sponsored loan program in 2005. Now, I didn't default, but I was there and I still have some of the paperwork from where they were like, oh, you don't have the money for deposit? We can find a way to fix that, right? And then the other factor to consider here is when you talk about the banks, assuming this risk, remember that the banks that are making these mortgages are expecting to package them and sell them and be rid of them within 4 to 6 weeks. They were not expecting to hold these mortgages and this risk long term. They were expecting to package them and then, sell them as CDOs in the secondary market. Right. I mean, you understand these facts, right? Like, shouldn't we consider these things as well? Shouldn't we consider? Surely there was someone in the federal government who looked at this and said, "Look, this is not independent risk. There is risk of contagion here.
Yeah.
And so we may be getting out over our skis. It was their job to set policy. Don't you agree?
Oh, I 100% agree with all those facts. And I think it's telling that you've made a far stronger case for Mr. Slave's thesis than he did.
Hey, that's
And
not
that
nice.
that you actually know something about the topic. But that's irrelevant. But yes, you're totally right. And the other aspect of it that I think is the fact that we had a system of rating agencies that were giving AAA ratings or AA ratings to products that were based on subprime mortgages. And then there was basically fraud where the banks. Have you seen that clip where the senator is grilling the Goldman Sachs executive about their sale of a security called Timberwolf?
I have not.
Let me try to find the clip. But basically, there was emails from Goldman Sachs.
Is this something that's worldwide, like for all Western countries, or are we just talking America?
Fractional lending is a practice in pretty much all industrialized and modern countries.
It's worldwide,
Yeah,
and the
no.
rating agencies are worldwide.
And
The
we should say
amount of
that the
leverage is
global
different,
financial
so-
crisis kind of like started in Europe with Greece, and the EU, and you can trace all of this back with the long history. It's just a question how far back you want to go, where the seeds were sown.
It's just in America, the amount of leverage was a little bit higher, or quite a bit higher than in Europe. So even in 2008, when in the US the limit was about 30-1, in Europe it was 10-1. So there was a lot less exposure, a lower chance, I'd say. Europe kind of flew with a few more guardrails, but it's still fractional lending. It's still the same technical system.
And what I didn't understand in what you said is that one house had multiple mortgages on it. How do you do that? How do you go to the bank and, like, my house is worth 100 grand. I want to borrow 100 grand off my house. I go do that 3 times. Like, I didn't understand what
You
you
go to
meant.
different lenders.
Well, you can get a
But that's illegal.
second or third. No, it's not.
It's a home equity line of credit with the with the house's security. But it is weird
But
that the
if
house
you've
would
done
be
that 3
security
times,
more than 3
if
times.
you've done
Yeah.
that 3 times, it can't be secure, can it? Because you don't have 3 times the amount of value.
The other point of this is that because the housing prices were going up like at such an extreme rate, that's why people were able to continually lend against their houses, because their houses were going up by like 10 to 15% a year, 20% a year in some cases.
So
who goes and gets 5 different mortgages on the house that then makes what
So
the
you
fuck?
you might not be realize that you might not be getting a mortgage or a loan against the house where the value of the loan is the full price of the house or the eventual value of the house. So you might just get, for a portion, you might put the house up as collateral, but the actual value of the house is higher.
This is very interesting that they're debating this. I think I made a mistake. I should never debate like a server owner, because now it's just I'm on borrowed time. He's gonna kick me off the server. Not wise. Not wise. I shouldn't do that. It's too dangerous. People don't like losing. Too dangerous. It's too dangerous.
5 years time, the house is going to be worth double that. So I might be able to get more of a loan on it.
He covered almost all of that exactly. There's a few other.
Wow. I always forget that people are human and humans are very dangerous. Humans are very dangerous. Humans don't like losing. When is this? Live in 63 minutes. Hmm. Velkami, Sinus. Oh, it's already very late. Um, who is this?
Mr. Slave,
Yeah.
I'm here to talk to you about Proposition 30.
And
Okay.
my dad is here as well. So
Wait, but we usually let's do it on my server. You don't want to do it on my server. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter really. It's recorded
Yeah,
either
it doesn't
way.
matter.
Yeah. Wait, so who are you? Like your voice is familiar. Wait, you're Fligagigu? You're
literally.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
my dad.
yeah.
That's my dad.
Oh my god! So
I'm not his dad.
So
I'm not his dad. I'm.
What are you?
His dad's in the call.
My dad is
I'm his friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it wouldn't make any sense because Fligagugu hates me and Gamma loves me. So yeah.
Yeah, my dad, when he gets back, he's old guy bad back. When he gets back, he'll. I don't know what he thinks about you.
All right, you don't want to wait. There's 3 people here.
Yeah, he's not
4.
really
Wait, there's 4 people here.
including you. Yes.
Oh, but who is? There's you, and that's your dad in the family. Okay, so
Yeah.
you want to discuss Proposition 30?
Right, absolutely. do
Yes,
not
Proposition
scroll up.
30.
Okay.
If you're on stream, do not scroll up into the chat.
Wait, you want to scroll into the chat? What?
No. Do not scroll up into the chat.
Why?
There's
'Cause
porn up there.
Yeah, there's porn up there. I wouldn't do that.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
so let me read it. Let me just make sure that it's I see it's being recorded. Let me make sure the audio is fine because this is good content. Yes, the audio is fantastic. Okay. Oh, let me read it quickly. So racism is fake. Racism violates the rationality assumption. Hence, it cannot be true, where racism is defined as the hatred of another group for no reason. All right. So, you want me to defend it? You want to attack it? What's your preference? You want to defend it?
I want you to defend it first.
So, the question is, what's the definition of the rationality assumption? The rationality assumption is a very famous assumption that something happened. I don't know. Wait, watch stream? What do you want me to watch the
No,
stream?
you don't have to. You don't have. This is for Jekyll.
You're so confused. Oh my god. All right, Mr. Slave, make your point.
Make my point. My point is, so the rationality assumption, it's composed of many little assumptions. So, like, let's say one of the assumptions of the rationality assumptions is the definition of what is a rational actor. So, for example, a rational actor is an actor that prefers more of a good over less of a good. So, for example, if I'm rational and I define pizza as a good, then if I'm offered 1 pizza or 2 pizzas, I'll prefer 2 pizzas over 1 pizza. So, do you agree? Do you agree that with that definition? It's just the definition. So, to have a conversation. This is what it's based on. So, you can retract anytime if you think that if you want to disagree with the definition, then that will nullify our discussion because the proposition depends on us agreeing on the definition. So, are you willing to agree on the definition of rationality? That, for example, a rational actor prefers more of a good over less of a good. You don't have to.
If you're asking if a rational actor is a utilitarian, then for
No.
the sake of argument, I'll say yes.
No, this is not utilitarianism. This is egoism. A rational actor is actually an egoist. He's not a utilitarian. Utilitarian says, let's chop up 1 person and reuse his organs for 10 people. That's utilitarianism. No, I don't believe.
Oh, right. Okay, I understand. So you've added a qualifier there, which is why I thought it was utilitarian. Was that you're talking about for oneself, not for the greater good of the population, right?
Exactly. So we're the opposite.
Okay.
So the rationality.
I'm not a utilitarian. I'll go with egoism. It's fine. Go on.
Okay, but do you agree that an egoist prefers more of a good over less of a good? So always.
Sure.
Okay, you're saying sure, so you're not saying yes or no. So you have to say yes or
Well,
no.
when you
No.
say good, I
Yes.
mean
Pizza.
you haven't exactly told me
If I
what
say
good
okay, so
is.
if an actor thinks pizza is a good, just defines pizza as a good. Let's say a rational actor defines pizza as a good, and you offer it, this rational actor. You offer it one pizza or two pizzas. An
Yeah,
irrational,
okay. But what is the good though?
it's whatever the rational actor defines as a good.
Okay.
A pizza.
So that's very open. Yeah, you know what? I'll go
Yes.
with that because it really can just mean whatever I want it to mean.
Yes, because if a hot chick wants to poop in my mouth, I consider that a good.
What?
Yes, it's true.
Is that true?
Yes, it's true.
Okay, so I do know you're from Germany because all Germans have.
Ooh, all right, there you
All right, okay. So we got if the rational actor determines it is a good, then it is a good. Okay.
Of course. Yeah, we're into subjective. What do you call it? Subjective value. This is called the theory of subjective
Yep.
value.
No, it's all right. You don't need to like. So you're saying on account of this, racism is fake, and can you explain that?
Sure. So, so let me again read it. And so, racism violates the rationality assumption. Hence, it cannot be true. Where racism is defined as the hatred of another group for no reason. So, once I say that a rational actor does something for no reason, that's a violation of the rationality assumption. So, by definition, a rational actor never does anything unless there is a reason. So by definitionally, there's nothing more than just definitions. Definitionally, a rational actor cannot be racist by this definition. It contradicts his, her, their definition. It's just a definitional.
Right. Okay. So me and Gamma anticipated that this will be a semantics problem, right?
Well,
why are you under the view that racism has no reason behind it?
Well, I'm defining racism as hatred of another group for no reason. So, because if there is a reason, let's say I hate all purple cows. Why? Because once a purple cow,
They smell bad. They smell bad.
no, she banged me.
Well, they commit 50% of the.
They commit
Yeah,
50% of the crime. Yeah, they commit
Yeah,
50% of the crime. So of course I hate purple cows. They're unproductive members of society. So there is a reason. Once there is a reason, that's not racism. That's reasonable. That's fine. So a rational actor.
Why can't racism be reasonable?
No, if there is a reason, then it's rational. It makes sense.
Yeah, but what if I'm telling you right now that racism is reasonable?
I mean, no, but I would reject your definition. If there is a reason, if you hate purple cows for a reason, then you don't hate them because they are purple cows. You don't hate them for their race. You don't You don't hate them because of race.
Yeah.
It happens to be that you
Well,
notice. Wait. You just notice to correlate. Really, what you hate is unproductive members of society who commit 50% of the crime. It happens to be the purple cow. That's not, but also maybe green beavers also commit 50% of the crime. Then you'd also hate them. That's not racism. That's you just hate unproductive members of society. That's fine. I hate them too.
Hold on.
Yes.
Hold on. All right. Sure. So, I've looked around the dictionaries for this sort of definition that even is remotely like yours, but unfortunately, I can't find one. I can only find definitions that say to the effect of the belief that some races are better than others, or the unfair treatment of someone because of his or her race.
we can.
I would say, right? I would say, right, that there are plenty of reasons for one to be racist, in the sense that you might just have an aesthetic preference. You might just think black people are just ugly.
No,
right?
no. You mean green cows? No. On this channel,
Green
we're
cows. Yeah.
live. We're live on
You could
YouTube.
say
That was
yeah.
a joke.
You could say green.
Yeah.
You could say green cows are just that ugly, or they smell bad, right?
Yes.
And in that, to that effect, you're being reasonable, but you're also being racist, right? And I think that racism can and oftentimes is reasoned, and therefore racism is reasonable. And if you are a racist, you should embrace reasonable racism, as in like rational racism, over this sort of idea that racism must be this. You know, we can't use the word that we can't call ourselves a racist out of fear of the basically what I'm saying is it sounds like what you're trying to do is run away from the word racist, whereas I would embrace the word and say I am a racist and I'm reasonable about
So
it.
I don't think you are. I don't think anyone is because whenever like the worst racists, when push came to shove and they met a nice green cow, they said, you're a nice green cow. So it wasn't about the race. They should have said, I don't care that you're an upstanding member of the community. You're a green cow, and I hate green cows because of the race. Then that's not racism. That's just not the word. It's just wrong.
It doesn't matter if it's a complete sort of a decision about a race. So right, we all have somewhat a purple cow that we might call a friend, right? But in the same way that I could say I don't like chicken and eat chicken one day and say I like this chicken, maybe it's the way it's cooked or something, I don't know, right? But this particular chicken is nice to eat, right? But almost all the time, any other chicken I eat, I fucking hate it, right?
Okay.
You wouldn't say that person likes chicken. You would say there are exceptions that they might have, but generally speaking, they're racist.
At the end of the day, words are just, are a tool for humans to communicate emotions. So I have a certain feeling about the universe in my mind, and I'm trying to transfer that feeling into your mind. At the point that we basically understand each other and we see that at the end of the day words are just a tool that we can redefine them however we want. They're just a tool to transfer
Yeah,
thoughts.
but I know what you're trying to do with your word, right?
What do you mean?
You've fallen. So the difference between you and I, right, on this very word, right, which is what it comes down to, is not that we have a difference of an opinion, right, about if race is real or something along those lines.
Okay.
It's more to do with whether or not we're going to accept that we're going to call ourselves racist. And I think you've bought in to the idea that that word is bad and being racist is bad. Whereas, as a matter of fact, racism can just be a series of completely accurate observations about different groups of people. And I think that you've bought into the sheep mentality, really.
I'm not afraid to say I'm a racist. When it comes to actually to black chicks, I usually prefer when
purple cows.
No.
Purple
When it comes to porn, you can look at my search history. I prefer black chicks, not just black. Charcoal black is my like if she's just the perfect black that she's invisible in the dark, I come in my pants instantaneously.
I wish my dad was here. That'd be great.
So
okay.
Okay, am I? So I'm a racist. I have a preference for black chicks. I also have a preference for black dudes. Like I like being forced to be gay, to be a homosexual. I like forced.
Oh my God.
But when it comes to forced homosexuality, it's got to be a huge black cock up my tushy. I'm not gonna have it any other way. So I'm a racist. So yeah,
right.
I'm not afraid to say I'm a
I
racist.
don't know. You look. I was okay. You know when you want to be like debate brain, but you can't because of what you've just heard. I am now struggling right a little bit. So yeah, okay, right. So it's as long as we agree right? And it sounds like a concession on your part that racism isn't just this sense of irrational sort of hatred. That it can be rational. Being racist is okay sometimes.
It's 100% okay always. It's always okay. If
Good.
you hate, look,
racism isn't fake though, right?
Look. If you hate someone, then you hate someone. Emotions don't lie.
Yeah,
you can lie.
I'm fine.
So fine.
Fine with that. I'm fine with that.
But I wouldn't.
I'm accepting the idea that it's okay all the time, right? I don't care, right? What I'm now going to push you towards is the idea that you've got to change that proposition because your initial proposition was it's fake.
It's fine. Look, the purpose of words is to transfer thoughts. When we agree, the question is.
But it's a concession, right, Mr. Slave? Right.
The question is, in all these propositions, the question is always: do we agree or disagree on the facts, on the science? Scientifically, do we disagree about this universe? Is there anything? This is like the definition of a tensor. Like a tensor doesn't transform, doesn't change under transformation of coordinate system. So as we change the words,
okay, hold on. I don't need any sort of like meta sort of analysis of how conversations happen. All I want you to do is to change your proposition.
No.
Right? Make a concession and say,
no.
hold on,
No
hold on. You're getting excited, right? All I want you to do is to change the proposition from racism is fake to racism is okay and justifiable.
It's a different. I could have both propositions if I define them properly. It's a different.
One saying it doesn't exist.
It's
saying
it's a
that it's okay.
It depends on how you define. In every proposition,
either.
No.
Yeah, it's either you're going to take the definition, right, that it exists and it's okay, or you're going to take the definition that it doesn't exist and it's just a nothing burger.
This definition is a violation of rationality. It definitionally cannot exist. Definitionally, there's no cause and effect. There's no science. You don't even need to debate it
use this
scientifically.
definition instead.
What?
Because that's. I mean, look.
Why is it?
I don't mind when you want to make up. I don't mind when you want to make up a definition, right? But like in this particular scenario, I can see what you're trying to do, right?
Okay.
You're not trying to propose this. You're not putting this definition forward because you want to, I don't know, make some sort of profound idea that racism isn't like isn't real. Hold on. You're not trying to make a position that racism isn't like doesn't actually exist. You're trying to
that is my
use it as a cloak. You're trying to use it as a cloak.
No.
You're trying to use it as a cloak for what you actually believe, which is that racism, as we all understand it and describe one another, if we call each other racists, does exist.
Yes.
And you are one, and I am as well.
It's a different proposition. I agree, but I can have multiple propositions with different definitions that don't contradict each other because they're all true.
These contradict each other. One says it exists and one says it doesn't exist.
It's fine. It depends on the definition. A proposition is its own.
That's a contradictory definition.
But a proposition is a separate universe. When you have a proposition,
they can't contradict in your separate universe either. No hypothetical, no fantastical idea.
I'm allowed. I can change the definition.
Law of non-contradiction.
I'm allowed.
You can't just contradict yourself.
Well, I'm allowed. So
all right, okay. You're above logic. You're above logic, of course. Right.
Of course. I'm a free person. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I would say if you want to be a rational actor, you should embrace logic and reason, right? If you're starting to contradict yourself and being like, "Oh yeah, I mean, who doesn't?" Right?
What you just
I mean,
said,
it's not something to be proud of.
What you just said is a violation of rationality. A rational person is not logical. That's actually that comes out of the rationale, because a rational person appreciates his personal benefit regardless of truth. So truth, if truth is in the interest of the rational actor, then the rational actor likes truth. But if a lie is at the benefit of the rational actor, then he appreciates a lie. This is why there's flat earthers.
Yeah, that's fine. Hold on. I wasn't saying that like you can't. Well, first of all, there is a truth in there. The truth is in your self-interest, right?
Yes.
And you might use lies to further that truth, right? It doesn't matter. The point is that when you contradict yourself, right, in a proposition, you're not fooling me, right? So your goals aren't furthered by your contradiction.
I'm
It's
not
very
trying.
immediately obvious to me,
I'm
right?
not trying to fool you. Why would you think I'm trying to fool? All these propositions are very serious. I stand behind each and every one of them. I'm not trying to fool anyone. These are my propositions. I don't want to waste anybody's time. I'm not going to waste time. I'm not here to debate to win. I don't want to
I am.
win. I'm not. I don't care about winning. I want to
No, I
spread.
am.
I want to spread my truth. I enjoy spreading what I discovered. This is years of research. This is years of thinking. This is years of talking to myself around the clock and debating myself. This is my blood and tears. This didn't come up overnight. This is, I'm a very old person. This is years of suffering that I finally figured things out and I put them in a list of propositions. None of them is nilly willy. They're all very deep and very truthful to me. And I want to spread this truth. This
Okay,
is
brilliant. Now, just to be clear, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's not what your goal is. I'm saying that there is a contradiction, right? And unless you're trying to tell me, unless you're trying to tell, unless you're trying to tell me that you're
between what
hold
and
on,
what?
the
Between
idea, okay, the idea that racism exists or doesn't exist, right? According to your definition, you're
within
holding two definitions that both
no,
posit
but
either truth.
okay, but within Proposition 30 is I stand behind it.
All
I
right,
love
I think you're
it.
gonna get.
What's the issue? Why do you think there's a I
All right,
stand
just before we just on the side note, right? Why black cocks?
because I hate blacks.
So you like it because it's like some sort of
It's a fetish.
I don't know.
I hate
Yeah,
blacks.
like you,
I hate homosexuals. I find them disgusting, and I hate black homosexuals. That's why, and I hate poop.
very good.
That's why I love eating a hot chick's poop because
Have you done that before?
no, I mean
He's German.
I've done other things. I've done other things. We're not gonna get into what I've done and what I haven't, but
Whoa, come on, please. I love you.
look,
But
I find
come
it
on, please.
absolute. Look, I find it. Look, so look, I do find it delicious. She has to be delicious. Yeah, if it's not delicious, I'm not gonna eat it for sure.
All right, I'm going to open up a different can of worms.
Okay.
You said that you hate homosexuals. Explain that to me.
I mean, I don't hate them. I find it repulsive. I find it repugnant. If I'm not doing like a session, like a sexual session, then I find like when I see on television or the internet, I see gay men kissing, I feel like puking. And
What if it's like a cute girly man?
no, I'm not gay. I hate gays. I find it disgusting. That's why for me it's a fetish. I'm into BDSM. I want to be punished. It's not that I like what?
So even if like Jekyll with his huge bubble butt walked up to you and wanted to plant a kiss on your cheek, you
A
wouldn't let that happen?
guy? I don't like guys. You don't get it. I like chicks that are without dicks. I don't like poles. I like holes. Did this they them have a hole or a pole? It needs to have a hole. No poles. No poles around me, please.
Right.
Unless I'm being forced because a chick is enjoying it, then yes. Then but that's BDSM. I also I want her to whip me.
Have you ever taken a dick before for a girl?
No, but I would. If she's hot, of course I would, definitely, for sure. I'd do anything for a hot chick. But she really needs to enjoy it. I mean, if she like sometimes you have chicks and like if she fakes enjoying it, then it's no fun. But if she really enjoys watching me suffer, then that's the best thing. I want nothing more than that. Like she has to enjoy my suffering.
I love you, Mr. Slave.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's
So,
complicated.
yeah, it sounds complicated.
Yeah. Anyway, do you have any further questions for the witness?
Well, I mean, the racism thing, I feel like I've won, but there is another one, right?
Okay.
I feel like I was maybe harsh about the calling you, like saying, oh, maybe it sounds a bit pedophilic, right? But what's your obsession with like children in these propositions?
First of all, I watch porn of old women. I'm actually attracted to very wrinkled women. I
I see
find
your profile picture.
yes, that's my preference. I prefer always when I go for porn and for girls, my preference is the older the better. As long as she's hot.
Right.
Like
Oh my god, what's with this? As long as she has hot stuff, then it just makes it like, what
No.
does a hot old woman look like to you? Your profile picture?
Yeah, that's hot.
Looks like Helen Mirren. Do you know who Helen Mirren is?
No.
One sec, I'll post her. She's very
Do you know
famous.
who Angela Merkel is? Who is Angela Merkel hot?
No, she's not hot. No, a hot chick needs to have very thick thighs. Like I
Oh,
first look at the thighs. The thighs have to be really thick. The thighs themselves.
like
And
Jackal, like Jackal.
I don't know what jackal is. Like a
But,
jackal?
Me.
I don't know. So she needs to have very thick thighs.
How about this woman? I'll post her in the chat for you. One sec.
In our chat right now. Which chat?
They're in the group chat that we're in right now.
So yeah, I've seen pictures of her. She's really hot, and she looks perfect. I cannot judge without the full body, but the top is amazing. She looks amazing.
So, out of curiosity, then,
Yes.
what was I gonna? Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah, she's hot, definitely. So I would
I don't know. I
prefer.
mean, like you have a bunch of weird opinions about things, Mr. Slave, and it's almost like you've
Mhm.
you said that you've thought for many years about some of these things.
Everything. Nothing here is not due to many years. This is and my theory of everything, that's many years. This is not an
No, I
overnight.
just ignore the physics bit because we
Okay.
do that all the time. Let's talk about
Okay.
everything else that's
Okay.
on that list, right?
Everything is very deep contemplation. It's very nuanced. Every word.
What does deep contemplation look like to you?
Many debates.
Debates?
Debates with others, with myself. A lot of debating with myself. A lot of I listen to everyone and everything and every opinion and I've heard everyone say their piece. The right, the left, the middle. You know, the libertarians, the Democrats, the Republicans, the conservatives, everyone. I've listened to anyone that had anything to say about anything. I've heard their opinions, and I think everyone is wrong about everything in general. My opinion is completely different than anyone.
No, it isn't. You
No?
actually have quite common
Like
beliefs.
what? What? Like name one. That's interesting. Which one?
Well, look, I mean, on the internet space, right? Your beliefs are pretty fucking normal.
Like what? Which one?
There's nothing there that I think that I've not seen before.
I mean, sometimes I show my page to like Trump supporters and they agree with everything. That does happen quite a lot. So Trump supporters seem to agree with this page.
Right, just point on your list.
Yes.
Besides the science stuff,
Yes.
what opinion do you think you've got there that I haven't seen before?
I don't know. I mean, why is that important?
Because it's not like, I mean, you say like your opinions are different, right? They're not. I mean, they're just like any other strange person on the internet, right?
I don't know. I honestly, sometimes I feel like, am I losing my mind? Am I like,
Yeah, a little bit. You probably are.
am I like the flat earthers? And I'm worried.
You are a little bit.
I'm worried, like, because my opinions are out there. So yeah, but what can I do? Maybe Einstein thought he's losing his mind. Maybe Planck thought the same. Maybe Newton thought the
Oh
same.
my god. No physics around Jekyll. He'll flip out.
Who's
Can't do that.
Jackal? Fleegaluglu?
Yeah.
Fleegigoogigoo? Uh Anyway, look, what can I tell you? I go with my truth. I'm not gonna. I lived a life of lies enough. Enough. I don't.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. I lived out my
Yeah, you
lies
live your truth. You live your truth, girl.
at the yeah.
But
At this point, yeah.
listen. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot. There's a lot that I mean, I could get you on any one of these, right?
Sure.
But I just think like there's something. You just want to take the shortcut and just say like what happened to make you think this way. That's what I want to do right now.
Go ahead.
Not like necessarily engage on a particular proposition
Go ahead.
because there's so many there that I could.
Go
But
ahead.
like, why have you picked up all of these sorts of esoteric, relatively esoteric in the real world, not so much online opinions?
I honestly don't know. I don't know if it's because my super abused life and childhood. Maybe that has to do with it. I don't know. I don't know. I
What were you
honestly,
abused as a child?
yeah, severely. Like I don't know how I'm alive. Like it's a miracle I'm alive. What I went through
Well,
is
we I mean, I don't know if I already mentioned this to Gamma, but we did suppose when we were reading it, the list, a lot of the stuff was focusing on let children do this, let them do that. This
yeah,
is slavery if you make them do this. And I
yeah,
thought, well, maybe he had some like horrible childhood
yeah.
to have brought you to think, like, to obsess over these particular issues, which are, to me, very benign. Like taking off a child's phone isn't something really that should be, it's a good consequence of like ill behavior.
Yeah, I think
So,
that's child abuse. That's
I mean,
to
so
me.
when
Yeah.
I was a kid, right, and I'm 26 now, and by the way,
Okay.
I'm a really cute fanboy. Just saying, Mr. Slade, if you're
I can
interested.
verify.
But when I was a kid, one method my dad would use to get me to do what, basically, like if I was not doing the dishwasher, wasn't like tidying my room or anything like that, like things I should be doing that I'm just not.
Yeah, you might want to turn the stream off to hear this one.
He would would turn off the internet, right? He would turn
Okay.
off the
Oh my
internet so I couldn't play my video games with my friends.
Gabe.
And it worked, right? And I don't feel resentful for it because at the end of the day, that was good for me to not just have my own way all the time.
That's different.
It was a good
That's
punishment that wasn't
completely.
physical. It
That's
wasn't physical, but it shows that
that's good.
actions have consequences, and that's a
That's
lesson that people need to learn.
that's fine because he said do this and you'll get it back. That's fine. That's borderline fine. It's like but if you take the phone away for a year or for months or for weeks or even for hours, that's too much. Like for 5 minutes as punishment, like I can understand that. Like, but what I discovered through in my life is the best thing is just negotiate. Just negotiate with the child and agree with them. Okay, what do you want? I want you to do the dishwasher. Let's say today by this time. What do you want in return? Let's negotiate. And
No,
if
no, I don't look. I
Mhm.
think with okay, there's certain lessons you need to give to children, right? And raising a child to be like that if they do something, they should expect something in return. Those sorts of things, or if they do something, there are no consequences to their actions, or no severe consequences to their actions, is a bad way to raise a human, right? Because by the time they're 18, they have to face the real world. That life will be very difficult for them to adjust to that reality.
So
Those sorts of lessons that you learn, discipline in everything is the most important lesson. In fact, when I did my exams, Mr. Slave, one thing, this was self-taught almost, right? When I did my exams, the one word, if a student came up to me and said, what do I need? What like trait do I need to be good at university? I'd just say discipline, right? You need to have good discipline, so good self-control and discipline.
So look, so let's take it all the way. So right, you agree that if you're going to take a child and just smack it over the head with a steel chrome bar 24/7, you agree that's obviously not going to be good for the kid, right? Let's just agree with the edge case. Let's get the edge cases out of the way. All right.
Yep.
So that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying we all agree that the harsher the punishment, the worse it is. I personally believe in positive, just either positive reinforcement or just negotiation. I can negotiate crime and punishment. Okay, you did this. I need to punish you. I cannot. This must be punished. Let's negotiate your punishment. We have
So
to.
is your kink also to do with like, because obviously you're into mummies, right? Because
Of
it has to be a
course.
woman older than you, right? So, is it okay? Is this like also connected to your childhood?
I don't know. I don't know. I
It
don't
sounds
know.
like it.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's driving
I
my.
feel like you've got deep psychological issues that you need addressed.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if sure. But I don't know if that's related to the page of propositions. This page of the what?
No, no, no. That was just like my
Yeah,
mind just went there because
what
I thought,
has
you know,
to
it sounds.
look. What has to do with upbringing of children? That's just years of experience with kids, and I tried everything and I saw what worked. I used the scientific method. In the beginning I watched Super Nanny and I saw what she said and I picked up lessons and I tried to implement, and then I discovered that I can easily improve, and I think she's a child abuser today relative to my technique. So I can grant you much better results than any super nanny that I've ever seen. So that's all it's
Wait, do you
about.
have
It's just a scientific method. I started from known science, and I just using trial and theory, the scientific method. I just improved. In the beginning, I had no idea. Like I didn't know how to implement it, and I caused a lot of pain and suffering. I didn't know what I was doing. But very quickly, I realized that I'm causing pain and suffering, and I can make a child happy, and I can make the mom happy. I can make everyone much happier, including myself, and everybody's performing much better. You give me right now the literal worst child on the planet in a matter of instant seconds. It's going to be before you know it. You have a soldier if you let me deal with him. You'll have a soldier ready to go for battle to save your life.
what?
Yes, that's that.
I feel like
Child soldier.
you have a very high opinion of yourself, Mr. Slave, and your abilities.
Well, I think it's justified.
It's just- Look, I wasn't even thinking like if I have a high opinion of myself. I'm just telling you my experience. I've done it. I've taken kids that are just the worst in the universe, and as soon as they're under my custody, they become super soldiers.
Do you think that
Super soldier.
do you think you're an expert in anything, Mr. Slave?
Yeah, I'm an expert at many things. You see many things I'm world top expert
Can you
at.
just like give me three?
I'm top financial expert on the planet.
Yep.
Like I don't know what else. What am I also good at? Economics, top economist on the planet, probably. Um, like top parent or like a super nanny. I'm the top notch super nanny on the planet by far.
Oh wait, so when you say top on the planet, you mean like that's hyperbole, right?
No, no, I mean it. I know the best super nannies. I know them. They are child abusers compared to me.
And what about economists?
They don't like you heard an economist today. I got him to say he doesn't have an economic theory. And obviously I have an economic theory. Otherwise I wouldn't write a proposition about economics.
And you think you're the top economist in the world?
I am pretty much the only one. Maybe the black guy, what's his name? Thomas Sowell. I don't know if he has a theory of everything when it comes to economics, like an economic theory, a complete economic theory. I don't know. I do. I don't know if he does. He doesn't. He never. So I don't know. So for now, I am the top economist on the planet.
No, that's obviously a joke because
No,
you don't think.
no. You heard me bring to his knees someone that you probably appreciate as someone who understands finance and economics. You heard me bring him to his knees. That was no less than him being. I mopped my floor with his face easily. That wasn't even a challenge, and that was with a full room on his side, getting in my way. But it didn't help him.
Now, what do you think I might think is the issue with you calling yourself the top economist in the
I
world?
honestly don't care. Why would I care?
It's a bit of a delusion, isn't it?
Yeah, I told you. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but what do you want me to say? Within this losing my mind, I am completely sane. So maybe I am losing my mind. I don't know. I don't know. Well, what do you want me to say?
I don't think you're losing your mind.
Okay.
I mean, someone who has doubts about their sanity is probably sane, right? That's
Yeah, that
basic sort of rule.
sounds
But
reasonable. Hmm.
the but the idea that you're the top economist in the world or the top anything, right, is just not going to be true, is it?
I know the top economists. I know Thomas Sowell. I appreciate him the most. There's a bunch of very few others that I appreciate a lot. Look, I don't know the details. I'll agree I don't know the details. Like Lionheart, Sea Lion, I don't know any of the details. It sounds like he knows 1,000 times more than I know when it comes to the details. I honestly,
Yeah.
I would love to know the details, but right now I'm working on, I have my day job, and I've had enough economics. I studied economics enough to a point that I said, okay, I'm good. I understand the world economy. I can explain it. I can build a world economic simulator. I can, I understand it enough. Right now I'm not getting a PhD, and let me move on to the next
Right.
topic.
I brought Sea Lion in here because I think he needs to hear this. So Mr. Slave Sea Lion has just informed me after talking about how much he wants to take Big Black Cock.
This
That
is true.
and he did say that. I don't know if you're watching the stream, but that he is under the impression, in a genuine sense, that he is the top economist in the world, and I'm not making that up. He has literally just said that, and he said he knows that because you're an economist, and he destroyed you.
I'm not an economist, and he didn't destroy.
Oh, there we go, Mr. Slave.
All right, that settles it. Let's go to the next topic. Why are you
No, but
doing this?
hold on.
Why would you do this? Why would you do
I
this?
need.
Why would you do
Well,
this?
the reason why is because we need to get it settled over the idea that you are not an expert.
That's how you
in anything.
that's how you're gonna get it settled by that doesn't make any sense.
But you had one conversation with not an economist. and
That
you came
is
to the conclusion
not that
you're
you
the
asked
top
me.
economist.
Okay. Look, I hate ad hominem discussions. Please,
It's not an ad hominem.
let's not talk about me. Why do we always end up talking about me? I'm so not interesting.
It's not an ad hominem. It's not an ad
I don't
hominem.
know. Ad hominem
It's
is
not. Listen, Mr. Slave.
No, ad hominem.
It's about.
I don't want to talk
It's
about.
about how you enter a.
No, I don't want to
Okay,
talk
hold
about
on.
me. I don't want to talk about me. Why
It's
does it?
not. It's not a conversation. Hold on. I'll explain. Right. I'm not talking about this to sort of like, I don't know, take a dig at you, right? I'm not an expert in almost anything either, right?
No, I don't want to talk about me. Period. No, I don't want to talk about me. It's boring. Why?
Well, I just want to say, if you're going to have a conversation, it's always worth, obviously, not going into that conversation with the assumption that you're the expert.
I always try to be proven false. That's the purpose of a conversation. I'm always open-minded to discovering that I don't know anything. Fantastic! I'm here to learn. How do you think I became such a phenomenon?
Okay, so when you said to Sea Lion, and this is not about you. This is about point. This is a point you made, not about yourself, right? That you had a theory of everything in economics, right?
Yeah.
And you said that made your position stronger than anything Sea Lion could tell you.
What do you want
to
me
that
to do?
effect, right?
Obviously.
Do you think that's a strong? Do you think it's a strong position to just say you have a theory of everything?
Look, whenever it comes to any topic, if you ask me what's my preference, to know some detail or to know some 20,000 feet overview, like to know the big picture or to know some little picture, I would always tell you I would rather know the big picture at the cost of skipping the details. That's my preference. So if somebody is an expert at any part of a system and I am an expert at the overall system, I feel more confident about the system. If I have a question, I'm not delusional. I'm not saying that I am familiar with the details of the system. I don't know the details of any system basically, but I am good at overall systems, at big picture. Because I always invest my time only in big pictures. I only invest in big pictures. I never go into when somebody tries to teach me the details. You heard me in the debate. I honestly don't care, and I get bored of details. If I ever want to know a detail, I come into the room, I ask a question, I go to ChatGPT, I go to Google. If I ever need the detail, I'll figure it out. But what usually no one has is the big picture. And I am the only one that has a bunch of big pictures and an overall big picture of the universe. That's just
So, well, the way I think about it is slightly different, right?
Okay.
But in a similar sense, right? I mean, the big picture is important. No one's going to tell you that's not true. But if you lack any specific detail, all of that big picture is going to be flawed in the sense that you have no context for what the fuck you're talking about.
Sure, that's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So it's a
possible.
useless big picture.
No, nothing. Look, there's no such thing as useless. You can. It's not that I don't know any details. The little details that I do know in economics, I tried putting it together multiple times into many, many different big pictures, and slowly I figured out a big picture that I'm very happy with. And since then, every time I learn more details, these details don't contradict the big picture. If they ever did, I would rework and maybe hone in on fixing. It's like Newtonian to Einsteinian. It's like It's not that Newton was completely wrong. Just he missed like a second term when it came to Mercury and stuff. There's corrections. It's not that Newton was completely off. There's corrections. And when we discover maybe he's wrong, okay, the correction. That's all it's about. So I have a big picture. It's fine. It's okay. If I ever discover that there is a problem with some of the details, it's probably going to be just a correction to my theory. That's all. I'm, and I don't know any of the details. I didn't disagree with any of the details that C Line brought up. I didn't disagree with the details, but these details don't disagree with my overall picture. And my overall picture to me, as I said, it's more important if I have to choose between knowledge of a big picture or knowledge of a subsystem, I'd rather have the knowledge of the system at the cost of the knowledge of the subsystems. Yeah, there's always cost benefit analysis. That's my preference. So by that
There was a lot there.
I am the best economist on the planet. What do you want me to say? I'm not judging myself in any favor. I wish it would be false. Why would I care? I never cared about economics. I never cared. I always stayed away from it. It sounded so boring. I never wanted to know anything about it until the '08 crisis. Until I heard Richard Wolff on YouTube say, "Oh, communism is the best thing." And I said, "Wait, what?" And he explained, why was there a great '07, '08 crisis? It's because the banks are greedy and the capitalism. I said, oh, wow, that's interesting. And I became a communist. And since then, I honed and honed and honed my skills until I became a capitalist. And then today I'm my own thing. I'm like an amoral egoist. It's like my own thing. And that's it. But
Broken your mind, hasn't it, a bit?
What?
Crises exist. You
What?
realize that all all I had to do in that debate, which I did, was prove to you that one financial crisis that's organic exists.
I'm not
That's why you
saying
lost.
no, but no financial crisis was organic. They're net. Look, they all look the same, and they all look the same as Schmovid. Everybody
No, they
agrees
don't.
Schmovid was inorganic. So it's just a coincidence that they all look identical. They all look
They don't.
identical.
They don't look all identical.
I-
You never supported that claim.
Look, I didn't do many things, and if you want, we can have a discussion. I think we should have a one-on-one. I don't think it's good to be in front of a room with people making, all sorts of things. Like, we can do it slowly. I'm open-minded. You think there is an explanation. You think the 08, 07 is different. Look, they're all different. Of course, they're different. One happened on a Tuesday, and the other one happened on a Monday. Yeah, they're all different. I'm not going to disagree that there's differences, but there's a lot of similarities. That's what I'm saying. And as a big picture guy, it's similar enough that to me it's the same. It's the same mechanism.
That's moving the goalposts.
Fine. Then if you feel that, then you win. I'm not here to win. I'm not here to win.
Okay.
I'm here to agree. I'm here to agree on the science. I'm here to agree on the facts. If we agree on the facts, then everything's fine.
I'm just looking at your proposition list right now.
Oh my god. Sea-Line, do you want to sit for an hour? You do your PhD and I'll do my papers?
Sure. I have some other stuff going on now, though. But
we need to do this because we decided.
Yeah, you're right.
What's your paper going to be on, Mr. Slave?
Maybe black hole formation within the
like
ether.
that.
Well, Gamma's gonna write it. I'm just gonna sit and watch.
Yeah.
So I gave lectures exactly how black holes work from the inside, and it fits. Like with using the ether theory, you can slowly convert a neutron star into a black hole, and then you see exactly how it looks on the inside.
Is it pink on the inside?
Is it pancake?
No, is it pink on the inside?
Is it pink? Is it pink? I have to think about that. No, it's black.
Oh.
Well, it's the question is.
You should have Mordwand. You should have, or I don't know why I call you Mordwand. That's weird. Sea-Line. We should have heard Mr. Slave going about his sexuality.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he said that that he hates black people so much that he wants to be dominated by a big black cock. Isn't that right, Sea-Line? That's Sea-Line, fucking Mrs. Slave.
Yeah, basically, yeah, that's true. No, it's not that I want to; it's that I don't want to. But that's why it's my fetish.
Right.
Yeah. And everyone on the server is criticizing me. Why do you like Mr. Slave so much? Why do you like him? Why do you support him so much? This is the reason why.
That's the reason? What?
No. The reason is because I think you are a wonderful human being.
Well, so I refuse. I'll take it as a compliment, but in general, in general, it's not good to say that to people.
You are the top human being of all time.
I'll take it as a compliment. I thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, I thought the funniest thing earlier, Mr. Slave, was that someone said that you sounded like Christopher Walken. I was like, that's.
Yeah, many people on this. They all say. I don't know why they say it. I think he is a little bit psychotic. He has a little bit of a psychotic vibe. something about him is off. Like, I don't know, off like a mass murderer, but something about him is off. He never, I never saw him like as an A-list Hollywood guy. I don't know, something about him.
Look,
I
look,
like
don't
seeing
knock
him.
mass murderers
Oh
until
my
you've
god, he's
tried it.
back. My dad is back. Let's go.
What are we doing? What do you mean?
You should tell my dad about all of your fetishes.
Why? Why should I do
Well,
that?
I heard the one about wanting to be dominated by a big black cock.
Why is that important to anyone?
It's important to me because I need to know how to satisfy you, right?
No, you don't.
I
We're
would
not.
like to know though, like what your theory of ether, like what are you trying to explain that's not already explained?
Quantum gravity and quantum special relativity. The
You just
mechanics,
fucked up.
the quantum
You just fucked
mechanics
up,
of special and general relativity, and make it fit quantum field theory. Make it fit all of known physics, basically. Within known physics, introduce a theory of everything that is quantum gravity, but also something no one asked for, quantum mechanical special relativity.
Okay then.
Yeah, that's why I just said you fucked up.
It's fairly simple, so but we don't have to go into it. You might get really bored if you're not into physics.
I mean, if it's fairly simple, you should be able to, knock the research out and have a paper written and peer reviewed, in the next, 6 to 12 months.
Well, that's already done, but now we're going to write more papers, me and Mr. Your son.
Yeah.
Like we're going to write I can explain many phenomenon like time dilation, gravitational time dilation, black holes, and I still need to figure out dark matter. So that's like I'm curious what's the explanation for dark matter, because my theory doesn't explain dark matter. It has the potential, but I need to look into it further. And also, I need to work out the math. I mean, today I studied fluid dynamics, fluid mechanics, because I need to reinterpret Einstein's stress tensor into basically a fluid stress tensor, a Newtonian fluid tensor. So that worked out. So
Yeah, very simple stuff.
I mean, when you look at it, if I could show you, it's trivial.
Yeah. Mord one,
Okay.
did you? Oh my god, I hate. No, I need to change your name. Client side for me. I can't keep calling you that.
Wait, it says Mord one here, but it says Sea
I
Lion
know.
on the server.
I don't like calling him Mord one.
I don't even know what it means.
Sea Lion.
You can.
Did you ever do tensors?
Of course, he's a mathematician.
I don't know that I ever took a course that had tensors in it, actually.
Did you just do them for fun?
I mean, if you're good at linear algebra, you should be able to crack it. It's all about linear algebra, for me, it's hard because I never really took linear algebra seriously.
So, what's your 9 to 5, Mr. Slave?
He won't disclose that.
Yeah, I'd rather not disclose personal stuff.
Yeah, only.
Oh, what do you
going up his ass?
What do you think? I'm gonna come visit you at work? Don't flatter yourself. I'm just trying to figure out like if there's any connection between like you trying to figure out ether. Like, I mean, what do you do? What field do you work in?
So until 4 months ago, I was basically doing theoretical AI, like brain research.
So, like, you're involved in like, coding.
Yes, but
Okay.
on on the theoretical, so I actually have a theory of how the brain works. I actually understand how AI, what intelligence is. Like I have a theory of mind, what no one else has. So I figured out everything. So physics for
Yeah,
me was
you have a you figured out everything. You were the solution to every problem.
right. So except for dark matter at this point, and double slit experiment. There's just
Yeah.
a few kinks to work out, but the big problems are behind me, like how the economy works, like economics. To me, it's trivial. Brain.
I don't know.
Hmm.
Kind of sounds like you have your kinks figured out already.
Yeah, that's also true.
Wait, I want to ask you a question. So you're an expert on economics, right?
Yes.
All right. As an expert on economics, top of the world, correct? Top of the world.
As far as I
Would
know,
you
yeah.
say? Yep. As far as you know, is the medallion fund legit or not?
In general, everything is legit. That's the rule.
Do you know what the medallion fund is?
No, I just gave you the rule. So the rule is that everything is legit.
What?
That's the rule. So there is exceptions, but the rule is that everything is legit, especially in the West. Especially if it's like if it's public, if it's publicly traded.
All right. Let me
Hmm.
explain to you what the medallion fund is.
Okay.
So the return is their average return rate per year. This is absolutely insane. 62% interest rate per year.
Is it publicly
You mean
available?
return rate,
Is it
Well,
not
equivalent to
interest rate?
interest. It's equivalent, yeah.
is it publicly available or
No. That's why it's fishy, because you get 62% interest rate on this shadow magic scheme that makes you get they should just put $1 billion in there and they'll have 50 quintillion dollars by the end of the decade. I mean,
so what's
62% interest is insane.
Yeah, I mean, some funds have these records. Yeah, the world records. I saw it. They like there's some venture capitals. What do you call these? Oh, hedge funds. Some hedge funds they have like 60% year over year for the past 30 years straight. Yeah, crazy things. Sure, those things exist. They're documented, as far as I know.
All
Okay,
right. Well, it looks like Mr. Slate think it's real, so it's real, I guess.
as far as I
It's
know.
it was publicly traded, for a while, and then they closed it down to, you know, the public, and you had to be an employee of Renaissance.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Jekyll, are you here? Jekyll?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you know about the medallion fund?
Nope.
I
Oh,
can
yeah.
I can tell you about like this like since Biden took office basically. So everybody kept predicting once the inflation started to hit, everybody kept predicting a recession. And I don't know if there's any written record of me saying, but certainly within my family, I kept telling everyone not to divest from all their investments, that everything is going to be fine. There's not going to be a recession. And from first principles, not because I was guessing. So everybody assumed that this inflation is going to cause something or there's a recession. And no, I said, no, everything is fine. I don't see any issue. The economy is fine. Even though I hate Biden, but I said, no, Biden is not harming, is not accomplishing any harm.
300 black men for only £2. Yes, sir.
What?
All right, continue.
Soundboard.
So anyway, I predicted, I prophesized, and I kept saying I prophesized. I wanted to use, at least within my family, to my close relatives and friends. I said my prophecy is that the economy is fine. I see zero issues on the horizon. And every time I heard some whiz kid, like there are economists that I listen to, I enjoy a lot of the time they have insights, But every time they mention that there is a recession in the horizon, they always neglected to mention the mechanics, the first principles that's going to cause a recession. So they never gave a reason. So I kept, and every time it happened, I kept bringing it up to, to everyone that I knew. Hey, look, like again, another whiz kid is predicting a recession with no mechanics. Like there's no reason for so, but everybody kept saying, "Oh, recession is coming, recession is coming." No, 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 there's no recession coming. Don't sell anything. Everything is okay. And I was right, and I made very good return during this time. I'm very happy.
Dad, would you ever debate in Globe Gangsters?
Why would I want to do that?
Because you'll be better than me, right? Since you're my dad.
No, you're putting pressure on him. You shouldn't do that. No, no. Look, winning a debate, you have to learn to debate, and that takes time. It's a skill on of its own. You could be a genius and still lose a debate. You could be
That's why I keep saying that I don't need to know any physics. I literally just win debates because I'm that good at debating.
fine. That's why I don't care about winning. I'm not here to win. I'm here.
I'm here to win.
I'm not. For me, it's a waste of time. Most debates end up in personal attacks. Like as soon as somebody starts losing, they start pooping their pants and pissing over everybody's.
That's good, right?
That's the best. When that happens, yeah.
As long as it's a hot girl who poops her pants.
Okay.
No, the
So
hot chick shouldn't poop her pants. The hot chick should poop my mouth.
learning some of my son's fetishes.
What?
Look, the point is, it's if somebody wants to learn to debate, which is a good thing. I mean, I think everyone should learn to debate because not in order to win debates, but because debating is a great way to find out the truth. Like I learned so much just by debating people. You just learn so much. They cross-examine your thesis. You present a thesis, and they cross-examine it. So you know very quickly if you have something or not. It's so efficient. Instead of having to do research and thinking and rethinking and asking ChatGPT and Google, no, you just propose it, and either you get your face used as a mop to clean their floor, or not. And if it happens, it happens. You say, okay, then my thesis is terrible, and I'll rethink it. So, but you need to learn the skill of debating, not to win, but in order to use it as a tool as part of research. You just need. That's all I'm saying. So it's not like inviting your dad to debate me. Like,
No, not to debate you. Not to debate you. I
Oh.
wouldn't. Yeah. I mean, I already know you're right, so like, there's nothing to debate.
I'm not bright. I'm not. It's nothing to do.
I said right.
I'm right. Okay.
Yeah. I say you should go in there and debate flat Earth. At least
No, I
once.
don't want to. I'm not. No, I only debate my propositions.
I'm talking to my dad. I'm talking to my dad.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't feel like he's wasting his time.
Oh, he will. He'll do it.
Why would I want to waste my time debating, flat earthers?
He'll do it for me. He'll do it for me.
Oh my god.
Okay, I've already told you my thought on flat earthers. Most of them are just trolls. They know the
No.
earth is not flat.
No, I don't
They
believe
just
that. No, I don't believe that.
wait, but there are some who are so colossally stupid they do believe the earth is flat.
No, I don't believe that either. No, both. I believe you're wrong on both counts. I think they're geniuses, and I think they're being very honest. And that's why the point of a debate should never be to win. If you're going to try and win, you're not going to do that because they already know everything you know times 10. They're smarter than you and they actually believe it. You're never going to win. So that should never be the purpose of a debate because you're never going to win. You're never going to convince anyone of anything. That should be your going in assumption. It is mine. Like I
What do
go
you
in.
think, Jekyll?
Maybe he's gone. Maybe we
Who's
lost
gone?
him.
I'm here.
No, Fleegoo. I can't believe that he's talking to me. He always mocks me and hates me and mutes me, and now he's talking to me.
He doesn't mute you. He doesn't even have the power to mute you.
Somebody does. He doesn't have the
It's
power.
not me. Now that I have the power to unmute you, I just unmute you whenever.
Oh, that'd be nice.
I do. Yeah.
Anyway,
DM'd me. They're like, can I get unmuted, please? And I'm like, I'll do it this time because I have the power.
anyway, Gamma, do you want to sit a little bit and start writing a paper about whatever you want?
Oh.
Okay, look, it's not so when I say write paper, I don't mean write paper. I mean draw the diagrams. So I'll draw, you can ask me questions. I'll explain to you how I fit a black hole, for example, into the ether theory from the quantum mechanical to the macro scale. So we'll just do diagrams. You know, I don't write. Like we can maybe later write an introduction, but the
I
most.
think
Mhm.
is this being derived from universal gravitation and then deriving the Schwarzschild radius?
You saw that I don't need Schwarzschild. I don't need Einstein. I'll show you gravitational time dilation first if you want.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, I get SR. I get special relativity directly from ether. I don't need Einstein. I mean, Einstein sits on top of my ether assumption. Einstein cannot start without my ether assumption.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Einstein only has a postulate. He has an assumption without my ether theory, my ether model. And 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 his is not quantum mechanical. He doesn't have a quantum mechanical special relativity. He has just an assertion, just a postulate. Anyway, you wanna sit a little bit and start working on it.
I want to know how you derive time dilation. Is this
Uh,
the rubber ducky and the waves and such?
You could sure use the rubber ducky and the waves. Sure, you could do that.
Are you doing it? Is this the revised edition of the paper?
But I actually don't need to derive time dilation because Einstein already did. So my time dilation, unfortunately, half of it contradicts Einstein, and I don't know how to deal with it. So it could be we might have to rethink everything, including maybe Einstein, maybe me, maybe both. Because when it comes to the twins paradox, when you go to YouTube, everyone disagrees with everyone. Like all the experts, they all disagree with each other. There's YouTubers who compiled all the big names, they all disagree with each other about how to resolve the twins paradox, meaning no one agrees on special relativity. I'm not even saying why the apple falls. Of course, everyone disagrees on why the apple falls. They all give different answers, and like every day they give different answers. They each give a different answer per day. So anyway, it's up to you if you want to do it now. We want to do it later.
I think you should. What we need is we need we need more math in the paper. Like we need math because that's what the people are asking for. You know, they're asking for the math into the ether. The ether dynamics is like the big thing that I hear people talking about. Is like describing how the ether.
I don't. But the ether in on a quantum level, the ether is the QFT, the theory of quantum fields, the quantum field theory. So I don't know anything about that. I provide them with the foundation, and I give them a unification with GR and SR.
So if the ether is a liquid or fluid, what's the viscosity of the fluid?
It's the same as the as the as the G factor, not the gravitational G. So in solid stress, in the theory of um, material stress, there is there's stress and there's strain. So when you stress a beam, it strains, it stretches, it deforms. This deformation is Einstein's curvature of space-time. So Einstein starts with the notion there is stress. Something is causing a stress that deforms space-time. So energy and mass are causing the stress, for example. I don't know. I didn't finish. I didn't. Are you here?
Yeah, that was Jekyll.
So according to Einstein, we have a stress tensor. A stress tensor is just the notion that every point in space is experiencing tension and shear, like tension that wants to pull it apart or push it together, but also shear that it wants to slice it apart. Do you know what
Yeah,
shear?
I know of like solid mechanics or more statics, but yeah, similar.
Fantastic. Then this is exactly it. So if you know materials, strength, the core strength of materials. So there's the same. Also, if you took fluid dynamics or fluid mechanics, so a Newtonian fluid. So a Newtonian fluid is just a different interpretation, I think, of Einstein's stress tensor. So a Newtonian fluid has mu, which is the viscosity, and that is the G factor of the stress that causes strain in solid deformation, whatever you call it. I
So
forgot
the
it.
question is, could you transform that tensor into Newtonian?
You don't have to. You don't have to. You
But
just
could you?
no, you don't. No, you don't. GR is correct. You just reinterpret it instead of deforming space-time, it's the flow of ether. It it's just a reinterpretation of GR. That's all. Look,
All right. My other question
nowhere.
is, what's
Mhm.
the density of the ether?
Look, what we know about the ether is the maximum speed of waving, which is photons and gravitational waves. Gravitational waves is probably gravitons. We can probably say it's gravitons. It's just quanta of gravity waves. It's the same. So, so it's the speed, it's what we call the speed of light. That's the maximum speed of waves through the ether. Now, usually the speed of a wave through a medium, like air or sound travels, how fast does sound travel in water, right? Sound is a compression wave in water.
Yep.
A gravitational wave is a compression wave in the ether, in the fabric of space-time, which is the ether. So the gravitational wave travels at the speed of light at about 3 times 10 to the 8 meters per second. And how fast does sound travel in water? Let's check. I think it's probably like 3,000 meters per second.
No,
No?
it's slower.
No?
That's
1,000?
gonna be. I think it's slower than the speed of sound in air.
No, it's much faster. Let's see. How fast does sound travel in water? Yeah, 1,500 meters per second. Half of what I said.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It right, because what determines the speed of a wave? So it's basically the density, right? How close are the particles that make up the fluid. How close are they to each other? If they're already very close, then the wave is going to be faster than if they're far apart. So air molecules are farther apart than water molecules.
Yeah, it looks like the bulk modulus and then the density. It's root bulk modulus divided by density is the equation for
Show
speed
me.
of sound.
Show me.
Of course, Mr. Slave.
Wait, I have a message.
Oh my god, I just fell into lava.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I fell
So
into
this
lava
this
when I
it's
tabbed out to get your citation.
what citation? What is this? K sub s is a coefficient of stiffness. This is in general how to get the speed of a wave.
Wave speed is wavelength divided by frequency.
What is this equation? What is the
This
definition of
is for
C?
speed of sound in a fluid.
The speed of sound
Speed
in
of
a
sound
Trojan?
no, in a fluid, in a fluid, in a
The
fluid.
speed of sound in a fluid?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what
K
that
is a coefficient of stiffness. The isentropic bulk modulus, or the modulus of bulk elasticity for gases. Oh, it's about gases too. Rho is the density over the density. So the greater the density, the slower the wave. Show me the page where you got this equation from.
I got this from Wikipedia, so that can't
Show
be a lie.
me. Send me a link. Whatever. Ks is a coefficient of stiffness. Y is the density. I see. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, density. It's like the more each particle weighs, the slower. Yeah, sure. That's true. So the greater the density, the slower it's going to move. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
K is the stiffness, right? So you can imagine if a water sound wave is 1500 meters per second in water, then, or let's say in steel, how fast does a sound wave travel in steel, right? Or in a diamond? How do you spell steel?
STEEL.
No. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they agree with you. So it's 6,000 meters per second.
Yeah, I know the speed of sound in steel is fast.
So let's assume, or maybe gold or uranium would even be faster, but like, but the speed of light is 300 million. So it's much stiffer, or the particles are much lighter.
So doesn't that mean that wouldn't the speed of light through so the light travels through the ether, correct? All electromagnetic waves travel through the ether.
Yes.
All right. And you're saying it is fundamentally equivalent to like an actual liquid and speeds of sound through them, correct?
Sure, yes.
So if there is some density, there's still some density to
Yes,
the vacuum of space.
necessarily. The equivalent of density. I don't think there is mass. I don't think these particles have mass because they endow mass to waves within the Higgs mechanism. So it can't be that they have actual mass. They have something else that is akin to mass.
I'm not talking about the mass of the ether itself. I'm talking. Wait. Hold on. Yes, I am.
So these particles, I don't think they can have what we call mass, but they have the equivalent of mass. And it's like, to us, it's like a separate universe. So I don't think we have access to that universe. I don't think.
Yeah, you would have to do this empirically.
What?
Um.
Look, they can't have mass because mass is an illusion created by the Higgs mechanism. It's just an illusion. Elementary particles don't have mass. They interact with the Higgs mechanism, and this interaction is what we consider mass. It's not. I mean, it's not an intrinsic. They don't have intrinsic mass. They have more or less interaction with the Higgs mechanism. It's not
Because I was gonna
intrinsic.
say it would be interesting to find the speed of
But
sound in ether, and then derive viscosity of ether,
let
and
me
then
just
also
let me just explain to you. So,
yeah.
um, I was about to say something very, very deep. So, the elementary particles are not particles; they're waves. They keep decaying into each other all the time. Sometimes they become photons with no mass, and then they revert back to electrons and positrons that have mass. And sometimes, right? Sometimes they become the Higgs itself, like and which has huge mass, like I don't know, 350, 350, whatever. I don't remember the number. 136, 236. I don't know, some huge numbers. Like, and then it
Wait,
and then it
which number?
decays. Whatever, it has mass, and then it decays into other waves, particle waves that have no mass. So mass is not intrinsic. Mass is just how much do these elementary particles interact with the Higgs mechanism is what we view as mass. It's an illusion. Mass is
So
just
wouldn't the equivalent of the speed of sound in ether be the speed of light? Correct.
light. Look, we know that light and gravity travel. I prefer gravity. Gravity is a simpler wave. It's a compression depression wave. Light is a transverse, like the directions of a light wave is really weird. It's
Yeah, it's
transverse.
electric and then magnetic waves.
Right, the magnetic is side to side, and the electric is up and down relative to the
Yep.
direction of propagation. So it's really bizarre, but yeah, it's at 300 million meters per second. So what is determining that speed? So it seems that there is some equivalence to density and stiffness. I mean, stiffness is easy. They have some stiffness, but they can't
But
be
can
met.
we figure it out what it is?
What?
Can we figure out that stiffness?
We don't have to really.
But can we,
Oh,
Mr. Slade?
no, I'm just saying, no, it's important to understand that we don't have to. Like, I don't want to
No,
waste
but
my.
can we? But would it be possible to?
I don't think so. We can
God.
we can figure out the ratio. We know the ratio. The ratio is c. It's the speed of light. So there, but we know they cannot have mass. But maybe they do have mass. I don't know. Maybe they have actual intrinsic mass. That would be nice. They might actually have intrinsic mass. It could be right. They could have mass, and they might be endowing mass. It could be that the electron has mass because they have mass, but that wouldn't make any sense because a photon has no mass. So that can't be it. It's got to be the Higgs. I don't know how they could have intrinsic mass. I don't know. I don't see it. I can't fit it into my model. Look, there's certain things I don't know, and you can think about it a little bit, but there's plenty of things I can explain. I can give you a quantum mechanical explanation of what's going on inside a black hole. I can, my rule in life is do the easy things first. By the time you finish the easy things, maybe the world will have been destroyed, so you never have to do the hard things. Maybe you're going to figure out that you don't need to figure out the hard things.
All right, I need
Maybe.
to check out what's going on in Globe Gangsters. There's something going on.
All right.
I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, me too. Bye.
Well, I will write the paper with you eventually. I promise you.
Yeah, yeah. No, no rush. It's fine. There's no rush. I'll see you.
Yep.
All right. That was fascinating.
Where's the bed? No bed?
No bed for you.
That's the only reason I bought it.
What's going on? What is this a game?
No. It's an optical illusion.
What is the name of this game? Tuesday?
Storage Hunter. Storage Hunter Simulator.
This is so amazing. So, you live the life of an average normie?
What'd you say?
You in this game you live the life of an average normie?
No.
So this guy's an outlier? What is he? What's special about this guy? Does he have
He's not
superpowers?
interested in having a conversation with you. That's what
Oh
he is.
my god. Are you gonna beat up these people? Oh, you're gonna bid on these things? That's genius. Oh my god.
Let's go.
Amazing.
Dick.
Unbelievable. Oh my god.
That's a rare couch.
You gonna be okay, Slave?
What, am I okay?
You never seen a video game before?
Basically not. I usually don't watch video games.
You know they exist though, right?
Yeah, sure. I know people play them. I find it fascinating that people find it interesting. I would literally, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is the last thing I would ever want to spend my time doing. I just cannot
Then
understand.
why are you why are you doing it?
I'm just roaming. I mean, I met Impish this earlier today, and I just came in to check on how she's feeling.
Okay, well then why don't you talk to her instead of spoiling my good time?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Impish, are you here? But she couldn't talk before. It doesn't matter. I'll come back later. I'll see you. Bye bye. Sorry.
Bye.
Wow, they're actually enjoying playing video games. Absolutely incredible. Oh my god, let's see what's going on here.
Saying that. You got a lot of music in your background, Dan.
Yeah, what are you doing? Have you had a night club or something?
I got a
Sounds like a
outdoor
nightclub for seniors.
outdoor mix. Yeah, outdoor Mexican restaurant next door.
Oh,
Like
I see,
heavens,
I
that
see.
I was about to say that's the worst porno music I've ever heard, Dan.
Oh my god, this is so funny. Um wait, why is this still here? Can I hang up? I don't get it. Why is it here? Automatic region. How can I make it go away? Automatic. Oh, I see. I can close it and destroy it. I see. Okay, got it. So it's a new group. Okay, I understand. Okay. All right. So there's two people watching. So Karen Betchek says patterns bad, no pointing out facts. She said it how long ago? This is 2.5 hours ago, basically. So she said, I don't know, I don't understand it. Patterns bad, laughing, no pointing out facts. Then she says, intangible word debate. What is the context? Fake is truly, but it's okay to be fake. Welcome to 2024. I don't understand her position so good. I no understand her position so good. All right, let's rethink our lives. Let's rethink our lives. Yeah, I need to continue studying. You know what? Let me go get some gum. Let's take a break. I'll put this guy on.
Another one came in, held down the feet, so they basically immobilized Godey. And then they started attacking him. The other, remember, the 6 males stood to hold him down. Killed him. He got on top of him and held down sat on his face, actually, held his hands. Another one came in, held down the feet, so they basically immobilized Godey. And then they started attacking him. The other, remember, the 6 males stood to hold him down. They attacked. They ripped off his skin, gashes on the face, on the nose, on the mouth, puncture in the leg, puncture wounds in the ribs, and eventually he was beaten so badly that he was just motionless, plopped out there. Then the attackers just left. They didn't kill him or anything. They just left. But he was so badly wounded that he died shortly thereafter anyway. 7 weeks later, 3 northern males attack D, another southern male. D runs up a tree and starts trying to escape by jumping from tree to tree. But these are big animals, and sometimes they grab a not strong enough branch. That's a branch, it cracks, and he's left dangling. So they pulled him down, and the three males that had during the attack kept beating him, and he first huddled up, and then he lay flat on the ground, no longer even trying to escape. There were females in this party. At this point, when he was not so much a danger anymore, he was pretty emotional. They joined in, and the females then started dragging him. He was faintly squeaking as they dragged him along the ground, and in the dragging, the skin was torn from him, and then they started biting him and flaying off his skin with their teeth. And then after he was sufficiently done, they just left. And he actually lived for a few months. His spine and his pelvis were protruding from outside the skin. His scrotum had shrunk to 1/5 of its normal size. He died. A whole year passes. 5 males attack Goliath. Goliath is the one we talked about already, who by this time is an extremely old male with teeth worn down to the gums, so clearly not a threat to anybody. He was too old to be a threat. And Jomio, who had been his previous grooming partner, and watched for 6 years, they were buddies. And he's part of the attacking party, and he attacks Goliath just like any of the others. Goliath was beaten for 20 minutes. And he tries to protect his head, but eventually he's too beaten and just gives up and lays still. And in this particular case, the adolescent males were along, and they watch this. They stay a safe distance away, but they're watching this, and they get, all very excited. They hoot and holler and jumping all around. You've probably seen kids, human kids, behave that way. And then again, once Goliath was pretty much immobilized, they ran in and contributed their degree of violence to this. And again, same story. They didn't bother to kill him. They just went away, but he died. This continues, and one after the other. And 3 years after the first kill, the northern males caught Sniff, who was the last remaining southern male. And Satan was one of the attackers. We've heard Satan before. And he grabbed him by the neck and sucked blood from his nose. He didn't cut in the nose. He sucked the blood. 2 males grabbed 1 leg each and dragged him down into a ravine. And again, the same thing. They beat him up. They left him to die, and he did indeed die. So Sniff was the last male in the southern group. The females were also not spared. Madam B, who was a crippled female, and her daughter Little B, both were in estrus, so both were sexually ready, sexually available, but didn't matter. They were attacked, and they had a series of attacks on the females over the course of a year. And in the last attack, after she had stopped moving completely, Jomio, was observed. Jomio, the male we've seen, picked her up, slams her down, stomps on her, rolls her over and over along the slope, and then he let her go. But when she tried to get up, another male comes in and slams her to the ground again and beat her again, so she's senseless, and she dies 5 days after this attack. So eventually the southern group was totally wiped out. They saw some killing of the juveniles, of the infants, but they couldn't observe that all. And the presumption is that the infants they didn't see actually being killed. They lost their mothers, they just died in the jungle somewhere. No individual from the southern group was ever seen again. So what happens then? So now this northern group, called the Kasakila group, is dominant. They expand into the southern territory. Now they have sort of basically twice the size territory, and they're sort of luxuriating that in some sense. And it lasts all of a year. But then they come in contact with the next group to the south, which is even stronger than they are. And they had 9. That community had 9 fully adult fully mature males. And so the next year, that next southern group starts attacking what was the northern group and almost destroys them, almost annihilates them. They're pushed out of their newly won territory and even north of their quote, pre-war boundaries, so they're worse off than they were before 2 wars. And in the meantime, they're being pushed north, but there's another strong community in the north pushing south, and it looked very bad for this group. And Jane Goodall and her staff by then, which had grown fairly large, was writing, they'd spent 20 years, so 25 years studying these individuals, had all their history, knowing it was the only group that they could really understand individuals, and it literally looked like they were just going to be wiped out. As it turned out, they got lucky that just at the time when it looked like her group was going to be wiped out, some of the adolescent males turned fully mature, and the balance of power was reestablished. And when two groups are more or less equally strong, they don't engage in fights. These fights only happen when a group from one community goes and finds a single individual from the other community, and then they go and kill him or beat him up very badly. So the group that's attacking basically does not take any risks. And in the course of these 3 years, the northern group lost nobody, and the southern group was totally wiped out. They only engage in this violence when they're sure to win. And you can read about human primitive warfare. It has very much the similar character. So as soon as this group got strong enough by the luck of adolescent males becoming fully adult, the two groups would meet at the boundary, they'd scream and yell at each other and bang their chest and all this kind of stuff. And but then they back off and retreat into their territory. So Goodall's group was saved. Now, the question comes up, as I mentioned, does this have anything to do with the banana feeding? Did somehow Jane Goodall's treatment of these animal groups? They saw a big group in the beginning. Maybe that wasn't a natural group. Maybe it was two different groups that came into, that sort of joined for the purpose of getting bananas, and then they reverted to their prior hostility, separateness and hostility. There's no way to really know that. There's a whole lot of other hypotheses why this couldn't be the case, that everybody knew. Jane Goodall had herself, before she saw this war, published a lovely book saying how peaceful chimps were, and there was all this popular literature about how humans were rogue species, we're the only ones to kill each other, we're the only ones to go to war, and we're really bad, and it's modern civilization or capitalism or imperialism or all these cultural things that what has this made humans such a bad species? Because chimps, our nearest relatives, were just so wonderful. And so there were people thinking all kinds of reasons why what they saw was not true. But meanwhile, the Japanese were very, very strong in this field. And again, females are really almost dominant in this field. I know that they have the patience to go there much for such a long time, but this even in both in America and Japan and England, the female researchers are some of the very best. So they observed the group. The Japanese were in a different part of Africa. For 10 years, nothing but peace. Then during the second decade, so years 10 to 20, all 6 adult males of the smaller community, they also had several communities, containing 22 members, vanished one by one. Apparently due to the aggression by males of the other 2 much larger neighboring communities who were dominant because of their size. Size in this case meaning number of adult males. Now, in this case, they didn't kill the females, but one after another, the females of the annihilated community transferred with their surprising offspring to the victorious M group. And the M group also got control of the K group's territory. Now, the exception to this transfer of the females with the young is that the adolescent males were not allowed to, did not transfer and probably weren't allowed to transfer. And they just basically stayed in the old territory and wasted away and died without their social community. All the males were dead and the females had transferred to the troop, and they apparently weren't allowed in. So now, is this just sort of random violence? It takes 3 years and there are a fair number of attacks, but it wasn't like every week they had another battle. So it was sporadic. Is this just sort of casual violence or was there some kind of planning in this? And let me cut to the chase here. So usually chimpanzees, there are many examples of this, we only have time for like one. Usually the chimpanzees, when they sleep at night, the males will get together and not right one tree and the next. They make nests up in the trees, but within a reasonable distance so they can call to each other. And they call to each other before they go to sleep to know where have you built a nest, where are we all? And they're usually fairly noisy about that. But one night, Mariko Hasegawa, a Japanese woman scientist, was observing them, and she noticed, and quite startlingly, there's no pants hooting. They weren't making any noise, and she'd never experienced that before. And she was surprised. The next morning, the troop got up and started attacking a neighboring troop. They singled out a mother and her infant and attacked and killed them. And so why were they silent the previous night, which she'd never seen before? It looks like not only each individual was planning, but it was a group thing. No one in the group was making any noise. So this had somehow been decided as a group effort the night before. When they're going to attack, several males together will leave the core of their range and travel really purposely toward the periphery rather than just wandering around. And I'll tell you a little bit about the wandering. And it really has all the aspects of planned in the head and purposive, and this is really something that they plan to do. The purpose of this violence is not at all clear. There's contending schools about this. The most obvious one is they get more territory and therefore they get more trees, more food. They live largely on fruit and largely on figs. There's a lot of fig trees in all jungles. And so they just wander around and find a fruit tree, and then depending on how much fruit there is, they either go up and eat themselves or they can call over someone else and say, hey, I found a good fruit tree. Most of the time, the chimps have no problem finding food. Jane Goodall had one of her workers follow an adult male for 50 days, never out of sight. And one of the things I noticed, did he ever go looking for food? In this 50 days, never did he try to hunt food. He just sort of wandered through the jungle, and every so often, his foot would step on a rotting fruit and squish. And he would notice how he'd look up, and there's a tree full of fruit, and climb up and eat, and maybe call over some others. So she was definitely of the impression that food is not a limiting factor for them. Later, Ann Pusey, another scientist, came to the opposite conclusion that she noticed there's some sort of dominance among females. Those females would have more fruity trees and where they range, do better reproductively. And Richard Wrangham, who you'll read some of his stuff, he's a food man. So there's a whole group, and I'm not wildly convinced by the evidence, but not in the field. There's a big thought that food limitation is important. So for instance, the difference between bonobos and chimps has been ascribed to food density and size of the parties and so forth. One of the problems with the food idea is that they have fairly large territories, and the young, healthy adults can basically always find food. They never seem to starve to death. It's the older individuals who are quite sick and not so motile that seem to have trouble finding food, and they can get trouble in the dry season when there's a lot less fruit. But they're probably too weak to even, when they have territory A, they're too weak to even, they just can barely search territory A. If you give them twice as big a territory, it may not do them any good because they just don't have the energy to go search it. So I think the field is moving toward the idea that food is the important thing. The evidence that I've seen doesn't convince me yet, but again, I'm not expert in this whatsoever. So the other purpose, of course, is to acquire females. I've been going on about how rare an egg is, and so you think, well, that's the obvious reason. But then you watch them go and they kill the females, even the females in estrus. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. Although the Japanese group, sometimes the females do transfer. And the story there is quite interesting because, as you know, small groups of individuals, if they interbreed, if the group was sealed, if the males are sealed, they stay together in this one community like forever, generation after generation. If the females also stayed there, it would be an inbreeding group. And inbreeding gives big genetic problems. So all species have to have some mechanism of gene flow. They have to get genes in from the outside or send their genes out. So it turns out that in chimpanzees, the females have access to other troops, and they go out and have intercourse when they're away. And exactly how this is done, because the males watch them when they come into estrus, they must disappear before coming into estrus and have it out there. It's not really known, but now they can do the genetics. And again, something like half of babies are born with fathers that are not from the troop where they are resident. And very often the adolescent females will just transfer troops altogether. And it's very interesting. When a female tries to transfer, go into another group, if she's never had a young, she's almost always accepted. If she's had a young, if she's already really in this group, if she's had a young, very often attacked or even killed or kicked out. So there's something, for some reason that's not understood at all, a virgin female basically is much more acceptable for transfer than an older female, and that's not really understood. So that means since the females are going to move around anyway, biologically the social has to be that way. It doesn't make a lot of sense that they're doing this to get extra females. So there's a lot of unknowns here. All right, let me summarize this by the summary of the chimpanzee social system. So come back to the question, why does the alpha male not dominate totally the sexuality? So the reason is that these groups fight each other. We don't really know the reason why they fight each other. And the winner is always the group, so far always, the group that has the most adult males, and the group that is the attacking group basically takes no casualties whatsoever. So having a lot of adult males is very important. If an alpha male got so aggressive that he kicked out all the other males, he wouldn't last long. The other communities would come in and annihilate him. So because of this fighting between the communities, the males have to stay together. And once the males have to stay together, that means they're going to compete for females. If the competition was such that only the alpha reproduced, then evolution would push all the other males into some other strategy, like you see in the big and the small orangutans, and you can read about a whole variety of sexual strategies. You think there's heterosexual, homosexual. No, there's lots of different versions which you'll read about. So evolution would push the other males to fight all the time to get to, if they were not reproducing, they would then be pushed by evolution to either fight all the time with the alpha male, or go away and try to start their own troop, or do something. That's not a stable situation where one individual can reproduce and everyone else can't. So the males have to compete with each other. All the males have to have some chance of fathering children. This also has many subsidiary advantages. So every male thinks he could be the father of any of the young in the troops. They're all very protective. Once it was seen that a mother was coming back into estrus and becoming sexually interested, the alpha male was with her, was about to start copulating with her. Her young, who did not want to, evolutionarily doesn't want a brother because she wants all the resources and attention of the mother, he gets in between them and starts fighting. And in fact, he bites the scrotum of the alpha male. He's a little tyke, really clearly not even adolescent yet. And so what does the alpha male do? He stops, looks at him, bends down, very gently picks him up, takes him over here, plops him down, and goes back to the mother. Because even though when that infant was born, that alpha male was not the alpha, so probably someone else might have been his. So this uncertainty of paternity is what all the males protect all of the young. So, because as the males fight for this dominance, the males get bigger than the females, and then they can coerce the females. And so I think, and that's why you see all this not only male and male violence, but male and female violence. So I think the story does in the end fit back together, but the driving force seems to be the fight between the different groups of males, which require males. They've got to evolve a social situation in which a lot of males competing with each other can hang together. Okay, so it's an interesting thing. That's because the battles between the males are not decisive. The alpha doesn't kill the other. Because the battles between the males are not decisive, that the males then turn on the females to do violence with them. Okay, next time we will start on humans, and we will describe humans, and you will make up your minds on how much of this is relative to humans or not. So, see you on Tuesday.
No, I think the next one is still...
I'm describing the intimate relationship between sex and violence within the chimpanzee social system. This lecture and forever after, we shift our focus to humans, and we want to ask what's stayed pretty much the same and what has changed. And today I'm going to discuss two topics. One, war in humans, which hasn't changed all that much, or you can certainly see a continuity. And then I'm going to talk about fecundity in humans, how many children we bear compared to chimpanzees. And you'll see there's a very big difference there. So the most obvious similarity, the one that gets the public quite excited, is the similarity in... Oops, that was wrong. There we go. Come on. Okay, so violent death has always been a very important aspect for humans, especially, well, all the time. I'm going to talk now about what's called primitive times, and this is data from a tribe that's in Paraguay, in South America, in the period just before it had real contact with Western people. So I want to start today with some stories from the newspapers, set a tone. It was over the last few years. Tehran. One afternoon, Fatima Eskandari opened the front metal gate of the shelter she runs for runaway girls in central Tehran and was confronted with two men armed with knives and rifles. Who are you, she asked. We are the uncles of a girl named Ranach. We are told that you are keeping Ranach. And indeed, that's true. Ranach was 16 years old, and she was inside, recovering from the bruises that she suffered at the hands of these same uncles. She had run away from home to escape them. The uncles had driven from Sanandai, from the northwest corner of Iran, hundreds of miles away. They demanded to see their niece. The uncle said she'd shamed the family by leaving home a few days before. They had come to behead her. They're very open about this. There's no secret. Staten Island, New York. A 17-year-old girl worked as a cashier in a convenience store. The store owner said that the girl was stealing from the register, and he was going to fire her. The girl went to her father and said that the store owner had groped her. The father flew into a rage, grabbed a baseball bat and a gun, went down to the store, and killed two people. Islamabad, Pakistan. Zahida Perveen, 21 years old, was pregnant in 1998 when her husband, Mahmoud Iqbal, bound her hands and feet with a rope. First, he shoved a rod in one of her eyes, blinding her. Then cut off her nose and ears. He suspected her of seeing another man. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Felicia Scott already had two sons, but she had an obsessive desire to have another baby. She convinced her boyfriend to help her get one. So they went out, shot a pregnant woman, and cut the full-term fetus from her womb. Saudi Arabia, New York Times. A young woman was raped by 7 men. She pressed charges. The Saudi court sentenced her to 200 lashes. 200 lashes is almost a lethal dose. Dominican Republic. Cressida Mendina is 18. She's been married for a year in which her husband Jose beat her constantly. She had the courage to separate from him, but she met with Jose after their separation when he asked her to talk. He took her to a desolate street on his motorcycle, and they had an argument. He grabbed the container he had filled with what they called the devil's acid, a mixture of gasoline, hydrochloric acid, car battery acid, urine, and other chemicals. He threw it at Cressida. The liquid disfigured her permanently. It burned her face, her arms, the right side of her chest, and a portion of her legs. She's still trying to bring her ex-husband to justice. Gosaragan, Bangladesh. I'm almost done with this. The village elders met under a lychee tree to put a value on Payara Begum's grotesquely ruined face. A young man had become obsessed with her, but she was married and he was turned away. He took his revenge with sulfuric acid to erase the beauty that had once enchanted him and to empty her life of happiness. Her cheeks melted, her right eye was blinded and hollowed to a crater. The husband had to bribe the prosecutors before they would even take up the case. Eventually, the perpetrator's family had to pay a fee of $3,000. In 1 year, number of the statistics for 1999, there were 174 acid attacks in Bangladesh. Those are the ones that were officially reported, where probably the vast majority of these never get reported. The article mentioned a 13-year-old girl who was attacked as she slept. Some victims died, some were forced to marry their attacker. Another was forbidden to come home until she allowed her husband to take a second life. Well, these stories are obviously at the extreme of human behavior, but the purpose of giving you all that is to explain that human sexual behavior has extremely deep roots, very emotional, and very hard to change or manipulate. Male-female relationships are very difficult for humans to cope with. And I think it shouldn't particularly surprise you that human sexuality is not particularly driven by rational calculation. The few stories that I pulled out of newspapers are just the tip, clearly just the tip of an iceberg of a very widespread phenomenon. In the long course of human history, across cultures, you see give you everything from Brooklyn to Bangladesh, these very similar sorts of things happen. Females, through the long course of history, and in most cultures where most humans have lived, females are treated very badly. There's a huge amount of battering. Battering is the prime human version of violence. And females are so discriminated against that statistics indicate that there's something now, right now, something like 100 million missing females. That these females are either aborted before they're born, killed by infanticide pretty much as soon as they're born, or neglected so they don't get the food or they don't get the medical care that their brothers get. So there's a dearth of something like 100 million women in the world today. And so these are extreme incidents, but it's an extremely common thing. And one of the purposes of this course is to try to get you to understand what is causing all of this. From a biological point of view, this abuse of females is extremely weird. Males, as you know, can only reproduce via a female. And evolution is, the name of the game is reproducing. So almost all species, what kind of a female do the males want? They want the healthiest, most well-protected, the best-fed female. And you'll see some examples of the extremes to which males will go to provide this, so that that female can produce offspring for that male and carry on the evolution game. But in humans, we find that it's very general that females are treated socially. And it just doesn't make sense that human males should keep many of their females hungry, sick, and abused. And in childbirth, if a woman does give birth to a child, they can often be underweight, sickly, and so forth, because the mother is not in great health. So this is all a biological disaster, the way human males treat human females. And we don't know why, we do. We have some idea why humans do that. In the first part of the course, we'll talk something about that. That's on the individual level, and evolution works on an individual level. But if you think on a species level, missing 100 million of your breeders, that does not sound like a great tactic for survival of the species. So I spent some time when I started getting interested in this whole topic, reading the anthropological literature, the sociological literature, the feminist literature, and basically I thought all those explanations were crock. And I don't think they came close to an answer. So in my own studies, I had to go back to the very beginning and understand what sex was really all about. I'm going to tell you a few important things about sex and reproduction. The first one is that reproduction turns out to be very difficult. So one day, I was sitting over in a botanical garden under one beautiful big huge oak tree that they have, and the ground was covered with acorns under this tree. And I asked one of the forestry people, because that's the kind of things that they know, I asked them, how many acorns does this tree produce? And they said, well, the wind spread is so much, and it's this high, and it's so deep. And they came up with probably 750,000 acorns a year. I thought, wow. So I checked the literature and found that people that collect these nuts for commercial purposes, a good oak tree can produce 500 pounds of acorns a year. And many sources say that an oak tree produces millions of acorns in its lifetime. Wow, a lot of reproduction, right? Got to be sexy for it. Then I asked myself, how many of these million acorns survive to make a tree like their parents? What's the answer? Basic biology question, you might know. Well, what if each tree, on average, taking an average oak tree, made 2 acorns? How many acorns would there be? How many oak trees would there be made 2 acorns that made trees? How many oak trees would there be in the next generation? Twice as many as now. What if they only did? And so that can't continue, because then the earth would immediately fill up with oak trees, and we'd be this deep in acorns. And similarly, if the trees produce on average, less than 1, what will happen to the oak species? It goes extinct. So over the long time, on average, each oak tree has only 1 acorn that grows up to be an acorn-producing tree itself. That's an amazing reduction. It puts out millions of acorns, and only 1 survives. And of course, this is true not only for trees, but fish, which spew out, fish females, huge numbers, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of eggs, or males of many species that spew out billions of sperms, that in sexual species, the way mammals are, 2 parents, on average, 2 children. If 2 parents for a species average more than 2 children, the world fills up with squirrels or whatever animals. If they have less than 2 over the long run, they've gone extinct. Most species, in fact, in the history have gone extinct. So the average of parent species has got to be 1 for 1 or 2 for 2, depending on how you count. But for most species, it's less than that, because most species have gone extinct. So the answer is, it is brutally difficult to reproduce. If any given individual in a species produces a lot of children, more than 1 or 2, depending on how you're counting, then that means that some other individuals are having less. Again, unless the species are humans, which are not the only species that are increasing continuously over the long time. As an example, they now, by this genetic testing, have tested how many descendants does Genghis Khan have? And the answer is 16 million descendants, this one guy. So that's an awful lot. But guess how he did it? by killing a lot of men and raping their women. So he has that many descendants because an awful lot of men, all the men he killed, don't have any descendants. And that's just Genghis Khan. The Mongol horde had a lot of males, and I think they spread their seeds quite widely, and a lot of males and conquered people just didn't survive. So, and of course, every army in the world has done, well, essentially all, have done a huge amount of raping, and it's a wonderful instrument of gene flow in the human population. So because reproduction is actually so difficult, species have evolved all kinds of fantastic mechanisms for trying to be successful at reproduction. So that's point one. Point two is that sex is not fair. It's not only difficult, but it's not fair. So sex goes way back in evolution, and even bacteria do it. So this is, the biologists here are laughing. This is the bacteria that are in your colon, and they have sex in this manner. And so right now, billions of sexual acts are taking place in your unspeakable parts, and this is the way they do it. Now, let me go back a little bit. In something like this, actually, the exchange of DNA can be either way. This is, even though the hairy guy on the left is producing that long pilus, as it's called, there's more or less equality of sexuality here. But when it comes to higher organisms, you get quite a different story. You almost heard the chicken and the egg. Well, the way I tell it is the poor chicken. The chicken has to build this big egg, has to eat like crazy, put all that protein and fat into the egg, which are, if you're not fed in barnyard, which are hard to come by. And then once the chicken is hatched, guess who sits, once the egg comes out, guess who sits on the egg? The female. Guess who protects the young? The female. So that's chickens. You can go all the way up to humans. Females have to spend 9 months pregnant. And then in most societies and most times, females are the ones that have the burden of responsibility for the children. Meanwhile, in all this, males just produce a little speck of protoplasm, insert it into the female, say bye-bye, I'll have my quickie and I'm off. And not in all species, but in most species, the male has a very minimal part in reproduction, and the female has this huge burden. Now, why does that come about? You think evolution would require that females just wouldn't play this game in evolution, and they would require more equal distribution of the labor. Well, it turns out it is starts as a division of labor. So the first animals to evolve, first of anything, were probably almost certainly in the sea and stuck down on the bottom or floating around, and so they couldn't move. And so how do you mate if you can't get up and find your mate? Well, you just spew out your sperms into the ocean, you spew out your eggs into the ocean, and you hope that they meet. They're not a very efficient mechanism. But at that stage, the male has to produce zillions of sperms, the female has to produce zillions of eggs. If you're an animal and you have to produce so many of anything, the gametes in this case, each one is going to be very tiny. Two tiny things meet and fuse, you still got a tiny thing. And the odds of survival of a tiny thing are not very great. So evolution doesn't like that idea of the male and the female both spewing out lots and lots of these tiny gametes. So what happens eventually is that the two sexes separate, that the female's job is to make a big enough egg with enough nutrient in it so that the organism can survive, and the male's job is to go find that egg. And so what do males have? What do the sperms evolve? Tails, take them swimming, right? And they find, their job is to find the egg, and so there still has to be lots of those, and they have to expend a lot of energy swimming. So it's still an equal amount of investment. But then the whole animal, once evolution proceeds, the whole animal can now get up and walk over and find a female or vice versa, and now they can populate or do some sort of insemination very close together. This now does not require zillions and zillions of sperms. So if the eggs stay already laid like a fish in a nest, the male just lays the sperms right on top of the eggs, and he needs some surplus over the number of eggs, but nothing to compensate for the amount of energy she's putting into her eggs. So you start getting an inequality. As soon as animals can find each other and mate in a more spatially enclosed way, then you start getting inequality. So evolution goes down that path because it's turned out to be a very, very effective path. And what you get is that females make a few eggs. Her eggs are very expensive. They're expensive and rare. Males still make many, many sperms. His sperms are plentiful and cheap. So this is what we call a sexual dimorphism, that males and females are taking different evolutionary routes. And once they take different evolutionary routes, then different reproductive strategies come into play for males and females. So a male, through the first billion years of evolution, has been producing a lot of sperm, and now all of a sudden he figures out how to swim over to a female. He doesn't need all those sperms, but evolution is conservative. He's still producing all these sperm. What is evolution going to do with all those sperms? Well, one thing they can do is he can evolve backwards and just make fewer sperm. That would save him some energy. It would be good for him a little bit, but it wouldn't really get him an awful lot more children, which is the name of the evolution game. Now what he can do with those excess sperms, find another female. At his limit, there stops being a limit on the number of females that he can inseminate. He spreads his sperm to as many females as he can find. So this dimorphism, that sperm are cheap and plentiful while eggs are expensive and rare, leads to different strategies of reproduction in males and females. It also sets up some odd situations where, for instance, males are expendable. If one male can fertilize a lot of females don't need a lot of males around. And so, for instance, there's a certain female wasp that lays its egg in a caterpillar. Wasps are one of the major predators of caterpillar. They lay the egg in, the egg hatches and starts eating up the caterpillar. So, but all of the eggs that are laid in a single caterpillar compete with each other for the food that is the caterpillar. So what happens is, evolution has arranged it that the females hatch first, and they eat up all their brothers except one. And then that one male can fertilize all his sisters, and things go on. So the males are expendable in that case. And if the females just ignored them and let them alive, the males would be competing with the females for food. The females would grow less big and healthy, and they would have less eggs. And evolution doesn't like that kind of a system. So all of these things, if you think it's not very difficult to find human examples of this, who goes off to war and gets killed? Males. And very often you don't find any change in rate. The females manage to get inseminated in humans. So in lots and lots of species, the number of males is really not a critical factor in the amount of reproduction that goes on. So males can inseminate many females, but females want to worry about the survival of each egg. And similarly, again, this is pretty obvious in humans, that a female, she gets pregnant, is going to be spending 9 months pregnant and then breastfeeds and won't get pregnant again. So it's at least a year, probably at least a year and a half before that female can get pregnant again. And we almost always bear only one child with an occasional twin or so forth. So a very low rate of reproduction where a male doesn't have any such kind of limit. And this does not mean that females are monogamous, because there's many other reasons why a female might want to have many mates. First of all, we'll see she might want to get resources from many males. You'll see she sometimes will not mate with a male unless that male gives her some resource. She might want to mate with a variety of males because she can't tell which one has the best genes. She may want to mate with many males if her environment is unpredictable, and even if she can tell something about these genes, she doesn't know what the environment for her children are going to be like. So she wants to shake up the deck and try have a variety of children with a variety of different genes. She might want each male to think that he's the father of the children, so that he protects and doesn't kill the children. There are species who do that. There's a thing called sperm competition, where she may want to have a whole variety of different sperms from different males in her, and then the sperms compete. So even though this sort of comic book presentation says, oh, males are promiscuous, and males want to go around and have a lot of sex, and females want one, there's many species with many reasons why a female may also want to be promiscuous. It used to be believed that many species were in fact monogamous. Some birds produce a very good example. What you observe is that a male and a female meet at the beginning of the mating season. They stay together all mating season. She maybe sits in the eggs and he brings worms or some combination thereof. And people go, well, this is great. This is monogamy and what wonderful animals they are. But now we can do DNA testing. And it ain't so. That apparently, so they call that now social monogamy and distinguish it from sexual monogamy. Apparently, while social monogamy is, as we've always believed it to be, sexual monogamy is almost non-existent. In species, when they measure it, between 10 to 70% of the progeny have been sired by someone other than what they call the resident male. And one article I read claimed that there's only one species where it is known for sure that they're 100% sexually monogamous. In that case, the male and female are physically fused together, so neither can go anywhere. Okay, so males have the job of finding and gaining access to females. And they have basically two strategies. One is to let their sperms compete. In that case, they make just more and better sperm. And the sexual system in a species like that will be promiscuous, that the females will mate with many males, they'll have a lot of semen in their vagina or sperm figure or whatever, sac for this, and then the sperms will compete with each other. And some scientists believe that in humans also, we have a variety of sperm, including killer sperm and other kinds of sperm that go in and facilitate this. Like killer sperm supposed to kill sperm that have a different genotype. And it's very controversial about whether this is true or not. They describe that when you look at sperm, they have human sperm, they have very different shapes. And one version is, well, all the other shapes are just damaged, they're just bad. They're not.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're watching this. I don't understand this, but let's continue.
Covariant components for describing the vector. We can distinguish the variables for the covariant components from variables for the contravariant components by using subscripts instead of super.
Okay, they're just called dot product covariants, and multiples as contravariants.
Scripts for the index values.
This is contravariant because if you grow the size of the unit, then you reduce the size of the component. This is contravariant. Mm-hmm. These are index values. 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. These are contravariant. These are covariant. The dot product is covariant, and whole units is contravariant.
We can distinguish the variables for the covariant components from variables for the contravariant components by using subscripts instead of superscripts for the index values.
So, contravariant, this is covariant, is sub. Contravariant is super.
Since these are just two different ways to describe the same vector, the same variable name is used, which in this case is the variable v. Suppose we have two different vectors. Let's call the first vector v and the second vector p, and let's always continue to use these names even if the basis vectors change.
V and p.
Suppose we multiply one of the contravariant components of v with one of the contravariant components of p. If we consider every possible way in which we can do this, we would get a matrix as shown.
That's weird. That came out of nowhere. So, the V and P. So, what are we going to do? One of the constant variant of V. One of the constant variant of P. So we take the contrast of this, multiply with the contrast of that. Okay, each green with P's, V's green component with P's red and yellow components. When you say multiply, what, dot products? No. Multiply the components. That's weird.
If we consider every possible way in which we can do this, we would get
V1, 2, 3, V1, 2, 3, V1, 2, 3, P1, 2, 3, P1, 2, 3, P1, 2, 3. So V1, P1, V2, P2, V3, P3.
get a matrix as shown.
What does it signify?
This is an example of a tensor of rank 2 with 2 contravariant index values.
What? What is the meaning of this? Okay. I don't know the meaning.
Suppose we multiply the covariant components of V with the contravariant components of P as shown.
The covariance of V and the contra of P.
This will give us a different description of the same rank 2 tensor with 1 covariant index value and 1 contravariant index value. Suppose we now instead multiply 2 covariant components from each of the 2 vectors as shown.
Contra against contra.
This will give us a different description of the same rank 2 tensor with 2 covariant index values.
Isn't this contravariant? We started with contra against contra. Okay.
What makes a tensor is that when the basis vectors change, the components of the tensor would change in the same manner as they would in one of these objects. A tensor does not necessarily have to be created from vector components as is shown in these examples. A tensor of rank 1 is a vector. A tensor of rank 1 has a number associated with each of the basis vectors. In a tensor of rank 2, instead of associating a number with each basis vector, we associate a number with every possible combination of 2 basis vectors. In a tensor of rank 3, we associate a number with every possible combination of 3 basis vectors.
Sabes nunca me hiciste el favor. You know nothing. You did me the favor. What? Copy text. Translate. Traducción. I never did the favor. Mm. What? Oh, I'm because I'm chewing. I'm not allowed to eat. I'm waking you up. Mm. Al favor, que favor. Que favor. You know you never did me the favor. What favor? No, no. No entiendo nada. No comprendo.
A tensor of rank 3 can be composed of the combinations of components of 3 vectors. We can create different descriptions of this tensor by using different combinations of contravariant and covariant index values for the components of the 3 vectors.
What are the meanings of these tensors? What are you getting from this? Like different combinations. The covariant with the contra and the contra, or the opposite. These are all contravariant. I don't know.
Let's start with vectors. Vectors are usually visualized as arrows. A vector has a length and a direction. We can also specify a vector using a list of components or coordinates. This vector's components are 2 and 3. It means its size is 2 along the x-axis and 3 along the y-axis. In this video series, we'll add the labels of the axes inside the component list. This will help us later. Here are a few more example vectors with their component lists. Vectors reside in what's called a vector space. This one is 2-dimensional, so it has 2 axes, and each vector is specified using 2 components. Here's a 3-dimensional vector space. In this space, there are 3 axes, and each vector is specified using 3 components. Now let's take 2 3-dimensional vector spaces. We gave them different colors to distinguish between them, and also label the axes of the red one using capital letters. And here's an example tensor. It is a 3x3 matrix having a total of 9 components. We just picked some random numbers for this example, but here too we added a label to each component, same as we did with the vectors. So let's start explaining what these labels mean. Take this one for example, xy. It means this component is associated with the x-axis of the blue space and the y-axis of the red space. It actually has some deeper meaning, but for now let's just say it's associated with them. We'll gradually clarify this relationship as we continue. Similarly, this one is associated with the z-axis of the blue space and the x-axis of the red space. And we have here all 9 possible combinations. Now let's put it to use with an example. Here's a tiny metal cube. Let's attach strings to it and pull. This stretches our cube a tiny bit, though the effect is too small to be shown here. Now we're compressing it. We can independently stretch or compress the other faces. But we always make sure to keep the cube in equilibrium so it won't move. If we apply a force on one face, the opposite face gets the opposite force. We can also pull this way. This generates what's called a shearing force. Such a force attempts to deform the cube like this. Of course, in reality, the cube will simply rotate, but we want our cube to be in equilibrium. It shouldn't move and it shouldn't rotate. So if we want to apply such a force, we'll need to balance it with another shearing force acting on the top face. The forces acting on the cube faces are called stress forces. There are many ways to combine them while keeping the cube in equilibrium. Now let's model this using what's called a stress tensor. We'll use 2 vector spaces again. We can think of the blue one as responsible for selecting a face. Force acting on the top face. The forces acting on the cube faces are called, and it shouldn't rotate. So if we want to apply such a force, we'll need to balance it with another shearing force acting on the top.
Let's think. So this one wants to rotate it counterclockwise. This one is clockwise. Yeah, they're opposites. This is not perfect shear. Perfect shear is perfectly up. And it's perfectly down. So you see it's counterclockwise. And this is clockwise. So that's that way, clockwise.
Top face. The forces acting on the cube faces are called stress forces. There are many ways to combine them while keeping the cube in equilibrium. Now let's model this using what's called a stress tensor. We'll use two vector spaces again. We can think of the blue one as responsible for selecting a face. The red one will specify a force. And here's an example stress tensor. The first row is entirely labeled with blue x's. This means it is associated with a face pointing in the x direction. And it contains the three components of force. This is the force acting on this face. The second row is entirely labeled with blue y's. So it similarly defines the force acting on the top face, and the last one on the front face. We assume the forces are balanced to prevent motion, so the opposite faces get the opposite forces. Stretch and compression forces are specified by the diagonal of the matrix. That's because the direction of the face and the direction of the force are the same. A negative value indicates a compression force, and the arrows face inward. Shearing forces are specified by matrix elements that are off diagonal. Here's a pure one. Recall that we need to balance them to prevent rotation. This makes the matrix symmetric around the diagonal. Any symmetric matrix represents one. Recall that we need to balance them to prevent rotation. This makes the matrix symmetric around the diagonal. Any symmetric matrix represents a valid stress tensor to prevent rotation. This makes the matrix symmetric around the diagonal.
So this is positive y, and down is positive y on the opposite side. Oh, this is just xy. This is not xyz. This doesn't make any sense.
Any symmetric matrix represents a valid stress tensor. This cube.
You don't have enough numbers. Where's z? Oh, there is z.
Cube is not really an ordinary object. It's actually a small region inside an object, such as a beam of a bridge. This beam is under stress due to the load it carries. Our tensor describes the stress forces felt at a particular small region inside it. Different regions may experience different stress forces, so each one has its own stress tensor. The regions are actually infinitely small, so each stress tensor describes one point in space. Now let's focus on the original point we started with. Of course, it's hidden inside the beam and we can't directly observe it, but imagine we could slice the beam open and peek at the stress forces inside. Let's mark the point our tensor describes. Since we revealed the face pointing in the x direction, we'll see the stress force specified by the first row of the matrix. And now we see the force specified by the second row, and now the third. But what if we slice diagonally? This slice is not aligned with our axes, but our choice of axes is arbitrary. So this slice is as good as any, and we should get some stress force here too. Our tensor gives us this information as well, according to the following rule. We exposed a face pointing in the direction of this vector. Its components are 0.7, 0.6, and 0.4. The stress force acting on this slice is the weighted sum of the three forces specified by our matrix. So we need to take the first row, scale it by 0.7, which means multiplying each component by this value. Scale the second row by 0.6, and the third by 0.4. Then add them together. And this is the force acting on our slice. This computation is the same as vector matrix multiplication. So now let's try a new visualization. Previously, we've drawn the three stress forces specified by the rows of our matrix on the faces of a cube. Now let's draw the same forces on a sphere. We can compute forces in other directions using the rule we just saw as a weighted sum of these three. Here is, for example, the direction we just saw, and this is the force we computed it to be. And here's another example. Since it's closer to the y-axis, the y component is large, and the stress force here will be more similar to the force at the top. So let's draw them all around the sphere. This is a good visual metaphor for what a stress tensor really is. It shows the stress force felt in every possible direction we can slice the beam. We'll soon show what it looks like for various values of the matrix, but first here are some general notes about tensors. Let's return to vectors for a second. We said we can visualize them as arrows or specify them using an array of components. But these components depend on our arbitrary choice of axes. We can choose different ones. Here's, for example, a different coordinate system. We'll call the axes here x prime and y prime. Here, the vector has different components. But note, our vector didn't change. We just changed the coordinate system and rotated the camera. So we can write this equality. These are two different ways to represent the same vector. The same thing is true for tensors. We have a visual representation of a tensor. We can change our point of view, but this doesn't change the object. And we can also represent the tensor using an array of components. This representation does depend on a particular coordinate system. The array describes only 3 vectors, those that happen to lie on our chosen axes, and they're broken down into their components using the same coordinate system, ending up with 9 components. The rest of the vectors can be deduced using the weight.
So you could say all the tensors, all the forces exist always, but depending on the coordinate system, you can represent only a few of them, but they all exist in all directions all the time.
Weighted sum rule. So this array describes the tensor in full. We can choose a different coordinate system, and we'll get different components. We can say this system describes the tensor from this point of view. And we can write equality here too. It's the same tensor. There are formulas for transforming an array given how our coordinate system has changed. This is especially useful in relativity, where switching between coordinate systems is crucial. In this video, we've only shown simple rotations. Later, we'll show scaling and skewing as well, where things get more complicated. Also, we only constructed tensors over 2 vector spaces. These are second-order tensors. Here is a third-order tensor. It has 27 components, 1 for each combination of labels from the 3 spaces. We are yet to explain the full meaning of these label combinations. A first-order tensor is simply a vector. And of course, everything works with spaces of any number of dimensions, not just 3D. Now let's visualize second-order tensors. Let's think of it as a stress tensor for now. We'll start from an all-zero matrix and add components of the diagonal one by one. Each component of the diagonal controls the size of the bulge along one axis. And we can also have negative bulges. Now let's add shearing forces off diagonal components, but we'll keep the matrix symmetric as required for a stress tensor. The forces that lie on the axes are slanted now because they contain shearing components. But overall, we got the same kind of oval shape, except the bulges are not aligned with the axes. It can be shown we can always find a coordinate system that is aligned with the bulges. In this coordinate system, the matrix is diagonal. The 3 stress forces here are called principal stresses. Here are a few more examples of matrices with shearing forces. Let's now drop the requirement for a symmetric matrix. These are now general second-order tensors. This is an antisymmetric matrix. The diagonal is 0, and the part below the diagonal is the negative of the upper part. It might remind you of electromagnetic fields, and there is a connection. Electromagnetic tensors have antisymmetric matrices, but the details here are a bit more complicated. Here's a second-order tensor. We saw in the previous episode it is constructed over 2 vector spaces, shown as blue and red. We also saw we can visualize it as a sphere with arrows. We can interpret the sphere as a kind of a map between the 2 spaces. Given a blue vector, we can feed it into the tensor and obtain a red vector. In this episode, we'll use it to represent electromagnetic fields. Let's start with some background. This is an electric field. Such a field is represented by a vector field. Each point in space has a vector defining the magnitude and direction of the field at that point. We're drawing only those on the xz plane where most of the action is going to be. For simplicity, this field is uniform, so all the vectors are the same. Say a particle enters this field. The force it will experience is equal to the particle's electric charge multiplied by the electric field. Throughout this video, we'll assume 1 unit of charge to simplify the discussion. So the force is simply equal to the electric field. It will cause acceleration in the z direction. Let's simulate it. And this is a magnetic field. It is also represented by a vector field. Here, they're all pointing down along the y-axis. The formula for the force here is a bit more complicated and depends also on the particle's velocity. It is equal to the cross product of the velocity and the magnetic field. A particle with 0 velocity will experience no force because a cross product with 0 is 0. If the particle has a non-zero velocity, it will experience a force. The cross product of 2 vectors is a vector that is perpendicular to both of them, so the resulting magnetic force is always perpendicular to the velocity, causing a circular motion. With a larger velocity, we'll get a larger force. Now let's explore this relationship in more detail. Say we have a particle, and the magnetic field points straight down. The cross product formula determines for each possible velocity the resulting magnetic force. For example, if the particle moves to the right, it will be pulled backwards.
Okay, I'm falling asleep. I'm tired. Sabes que sí, no entiendo nada, no comprendo completamente, no entiendo nada. What? Okay. All right, I'm gonna text you. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm falling asleep, so I'm gonna see you tomorrow, everyone. Bye bye.